Chapter 742. This mysterious man's strength was unfathomable. He Linlin couldn't tell how strong he was. He seemed to be about the same age as her, maybe even a little younger than her. However, his aura didn't lose out to her at all. He Linlin sized him up as if he was an opponent. She didn't expect to meet such an opponent as soon as she entered the boundless world. Human race. Bakra orcs. He Linlin used a questioning tone. The man confirmed He Linlin's identity with certainty. This isn't a place where you should be. He Linlin didn't know how strong he was and didn't test him rashly. It's also not a place where you should be. Yi Baiming curled his lips and glanced at the thick Dutian blood seal. 3 days ago, he had just finished his daily training and found his mentor, Guiyu. You said you want to seek stronger strength? Guiyu was both troubled and happy about his precious disciple. I want to improve my physical strength. After breaking through to Martial Emperor, Yi Baiming encountered a bottleneck. This was the first time in his 18 years of life. Since young, Yi Baiming knew that his talent was different from ordinary people, whether it was in terms of magic or battle chi cultivation. Others would only be able to achieve twice the effect if they had twice the time. However, as his cultivation increased, the effect of his cultivation increased from several times to dozens of times. This was especially obvious after his eyes recovered. Although his cultivation had broken through to Martial Emperor, his physical strength couldn't compete with ordinary Martial Emperors. After all, Yi Baiming was only 18 years old. The Martial Emperors on the mainland, such as Guiyu and Yun Ba, had undergone long periods of training. Their physical strength was comparable to a beast king. However, Yi Baiming was different. He could feel that his battle chi had surpassed his physical strength. In order to better fuse his physical body with his do chi, he had to find a way to strengthen his physical body even more. This was something he couldn't do on his own. Therefore, he came to the mainland's elite warrior camp and became Elder Guiyu's disciple. Ghost Prison's elder didn't give an answer immediately. An 18-year-old martial emperor. There was no other person in the entire continent with such an achievement. However, that was only in the boundless land. As the #1 person in the continent's warrior elite camp, Guiyu's insight and foresight were comparable to the great elder of the continent's mage elite camp. After Elder Yu returned from Skywing City, he brought back news that made Elder Ghost Prison realize that a hidden danger was about to erupt. Yi Baiming was fully deserving of being the leader of the elite camp of the continent. Elder Ghost Prison had already realized this point. He knew that this student of his was not simple. He seemed undisciplined, but he had his own terrifying force behind him. Therefore, this time, Elder Ghost Prison did not try to persuade Yi Baiming. He told Yi Baiming that there was a way to improve his cultivation. You have to go to the Dutian Blood Beast world to find blood crystals, Ghost Prison Elder said as he took off his shirt. As the #1 expert in the continent's warrior elite camp, Elder Ghost Prison had experienced hundreds of battles. Although he was over 70 years old, his body was like a vigorous and powerful tree. He didn't weaken because of age. Instead, he glowed with an even stronger vitality. His muscles bulged, his tendons and veins crisscrossed like rivers, densely covering his skin. Circulate your battle chi and give me a punch, Elder Ghost Prison ordered Yi Baiming. Yi Baiming didn't hesitate and raised his fist. The moment the punch was thrown, there was a crackling sound, and the air was instantly shattered. Peng dash as a martial emperor, Yi Baiming's punch had the force of at least 10,000 pounds. Even a huge rock could be turned into fine powder in an instant. Elder Ghost Prison's face was flushed red, and his blood energy was roiling. However, when that fist landed on his body, it only turned red. After that, Elder Ghost Prison's complexion returned to normal, and he did not look any different. Yi Baiming frowned slightly. His punch didn't hurt Elder Ghost Prison at all. You must be very curious as to how my body can reach such a level of strength. That's because I have absorbed 3 blood crystals. Elder Ghost Prison's expression was solemn. What he was about to tell Yi Baiming was a secret that only the top experts in the continent knew. Only those who were already at the top would know this secret. Elder Ghost Prison originally planned to tell Yi Baiming after he inherited his mantle. However, he didn't expect this kid to break through to Martial Emperor so quickly. He could only tell him earlier. You should know that in the Dutian Blood Beast world, There is an area that only high-level instructors and elders can enter. Elder Ghost Prison took out a map of the Dutian Blood Beast world. The map was clearly divided into 3 areas according to color. The blue area was the outer area of the Dutian Blood Beast world. The orange area was the middle area of the Dutian Blood Beast world. And the red area was the depths of the Dutian Blood Beast world. You come from the royal family of Zhou State. I believe you already know about the secret passage of the Dutian Blood Beast world, and the existence of the descendants of the Bakra orcs. Elder Ghost Prison didn't explain further. The ancestors of Zhou State must have left behind some letters for their descendants. Yi Baiming nodded. He had heard about the Great War between the Bakra orcs and the human race, and the possibility that the descendants of the Bakra orcs existed in another continent. However, you must not know that the place where the 8 Beast clan leaders were buried contains a secret that can make warriors and magicians more powerful. That secret is the blood crystals. Elder Ghost Prison pointed to the reddest area in the middle of the Blood Beast world, which was marked as an extremely dangerous area. The 8 Beast clan patriarchs of the 8 Wastelands Beast clan all had powerful physical bodies and astonishing magical talents. After they were killed, their blood flowed like a river. A part of their blood was used by the 8 Beast clan leaders to draw the Dutian blood seal, which was used to support the existence of the Dutian Blood Beast world. However, that was only a part of it. Most of the blood of the 8 Beast clan leaders had merged into the ground of the Blood Beast world and formed a special ore, which was the Beast Blood Crystal. The Beast Blood Crystal was divided into 2 types. One was the Magic Blood Crystal, and the other was the Fighting Chi Blood Crystal. The Magic Blood Crystal could greatly improve a magician's spiritual soul. The Fighting Chi Blood Crystal could refine a warrior's physical body. As long as enough blood crystals were integrated, a warrior would have a body as strong as the 8 Beast clan leaders. The body of the Bakra Orcs clan leader? What kind of powerful existence would that be? Of course there are pros and cons. After all, the human race and the Beast clan are not the same race. There is a limit to the integration of blood crystals. Even I, your teacher, have only integrated 3 blood crystals. If the integration is not good enough, you may explode from your fighting chi, Elder Ghost Prison said. Thank you, teacher. I have learned my lesson. After Yi Baiming heard this news, he left the mainland's elite warrior camp and headed to the Dutian Blood Beast world. High energy warning ahead. Irresponsible exploding after midnight. Those who can support, please support. Those who can't, please bless me. Tomorrow's big sale. Chapter 743. As soon as Yi Baiming left, the Ghost Prison's elder let out a cry. He rubbed his chest and bared his teeth like an old monkey. Oh my God, that brat really hit me. It hurts. It was the first time the Ghost Prison's elder met such a student who attacked his own teacher without any mercy. Even with the blood crystals, the Ghost Prison's elder almost suffered internal injuries from Yi Baiming's punch. His internal organs were shaken. And that was before he used Beast Blood Berserk. If he used Beast Blood Berserk, what would Yi Baiming's punch be like? Even the Ghost Prison's elder, who had absorbed 3 blood crystals, found it hard to predict. Oh no, I forgot to tell that brat. With his martial emperor cultivation, he can only absorb 2 blood crystals at most. No, I have to find that brat. The Ghost Prison's elder stomped his feet. However, when he anxiously went to find Yi Baiming, he found that Yi Baiming had already left. With his understanding of Yi Baiming, once this brat found a blood crystal, he would definitely try his best to absorb it and pursue the strongest physical strength. Yi Baiming did not know that the Ghost Prison's elder was stomping his feet anxiously. Yi Baiming collected his thoughts and looked at the Dutian blood seal not far away. The Dutian blood seal was a ferocious blood seal. It was like a huge ancient totem that spanned across the ground. It was divided into 8 directions: east, west, south, north, southeast, southwest, northeast, and northwest. In each of the 8 directions, 8 Bakra Orcs patriarchs were buried. They were also known as the 8 Graves. It was rumored that among the patriarchs of the 8 great beast clans, the Black Chelan royal tribe's patriarch had the strongest physical body. The Chelan king's true physical body was like a towering mountain that stretched for hundreds of miles. As for the magician with the highest cultivation, it was the patriarch of the Celestial Fox people, who was known as the 9-Life Celestial Fox. It was rumored that the patriarch of the celestial fox people was a peerless woman. She was proficient in witchcraft and healing, and was the most brilliant magician. These were all briefly described in the history books. What Yi Baiming wanted now was a stronger physical body. Therefore, his best choice was to find the location of the Black Qilin King's remains and find a suitable blood crystal. However, the thick blood aura swirling within the Dutian blood seal made it very difficult for anyone to guess the location of the beast chief's skeleton. Are you looking for blood crystals? As a descendant of the Bakra orcs, He Linlin was no stranger to blood crystals. Miss, you're also here to look for blood crystals. It looks like we have no choice but to be enemies. Yi Baiming's gray eyes moved slightly, and there was still a faint smile on his face. It seemed that they had the same goal this time. The man in front of her was her enemy. He Linlin couldn't help but feel a little regretful. Anyone who tried to compete with her would only end up dead. In fact, there had been a tradition among the Bakra orcs since ancient times. Every clan leader would condense a blood crystal after they passed away. However, the purity of the blood crystal differed according to the cultivation level of the clan leader. However, only the truly powerful could condense the strongest blood crystal. However, there was only one piece of the strongest blood crystal, and that was the blood Saraira. The patriarchs of the 8 great beast clans were also known as the 8 most powerful patriarchs in history. Therefore, the divine palaces of the beast god altar suspected that there were 8 blood Sarairas hidden in the remains of the 8 patriarchs. The blood Saraira was the strongest blood crystal. The 8 descendants of the Bakra orcs had appeared here to retrieve the blood Saraira. This was something that Yi Baiming and the students who were still at the periphery of the Duqian blood beast world did not know. However, He Linlin was not afraid that Yi Baiming would snatch the blood Saraira. Legend had it that only the most powerful descendants of the Bakra orcs could unearth the blood Saraira. Yi Baiming took a step forward, and He Linlin followed him like a shadow. The blood crystal is the most precious treasure of the Bakra orcs. Human, don't even think about getting your hands on it. He Linlin did not allow for any explanation. She suddenly charged forward, and her duki exploded. Like a bomb, she charged towards Yi Baiming. Before the two of them collided, their duki had already collided. The two duki that were equally matched caused the air to distort strangely. Ripples formed around them. He Linlin's 5 fingers closed together, forming a dagger. Like a swimming dragon, she stabbed towards Yi Baiming's throat. If this attack hit his throat, it would definitely cause serious injury. Yi Baiming retreated and his hand brushed lightly, like the autumn wind sweeping away fallen leaves. This flick seemed casual, but it contained a strange force. Clang! A sound similar to that of 2 swords clashing sounded. He Linlin felt her hand shake, and her duki immediately dissipated. What kind of combat skill was this? He Linlin was surprised. While she was surprised, Yi Baiming had already brushed past her and entered the Dutian blood seal. Something fell beside her ear. He Linlin touched it, and found that it was a strand of hair. Just now if that strange man's hand had brushed her neck, then at this moment, a ripple suddenly appeared in her heart, which had not fluctuated for more than 10 years. He Linlin's face flushed red, as if she was drunk. The blush quickly disappeared. It was only one move, but He Linlin felt like she was in the middle of a fierce battle. The Black Qilin royal family worshipped the strong. He Linlin had lived for 20 years, and this was the first time she met someone who could go toe-to-toe with her. Let's see where you're going. He Linlin stomped her foot, and with a whoosh, she also entered the Dutian blood seal. When the two of them entered the Dutian blood seal, a low growl came from the depths of the blood seal. At a certain location in the Dutian blood seal, a red light shone, but it quickly dimmed. At this moment, in the middle area of the blood beast sector, the 3 teams of the mainland magic elite camp had just entered the middle area of the Dutian blood seal. Due to the battle between Lu Tongtian and Blue, the 2 teams separated from the 4th elder as soon as they entered the blood beast sector. The 2 teams of more than 20 people rushed in the same direction. After rushing through the thick blood fog, the 20 people stopped. A wave of blood fog rushed over, and the students found it difficult to breathe. Although they had taken the antidote, the students still felt that their magic power was suppressed by the blood fog. What's that sound? After entering the Dutian blood beast sector, the Crimson Moon River disappeared. The sound of flowing water was replaced by a strange rustling sound. Look, there's something in the blood fog. A few students found that there was a little bit of green in the blood fog. The green was like ghost fire floating in the grave sea in the middle of the night. Dozens of people were so scared that they took a few steps back. A bad feeling arose in Yunsheng's heart. She turned her head to look behind her, and with one look, Yunsheng felt that all the pores on her body were about to explode. Although she knew that once they entered the middle area, they might encounter commander-level magical beasts, she did not expect to encounter such a shocking number of blood crystal wolves. Chapter 744. Hundreds of blood crystal wolves walked out of the blood mist. Their fur was like fire, and they looked ferocious. Blood crystal wolves were a special kind of magic beast. They were a type of blood cloud beast with the earth element. After breaking through to the commander level, the fur on their bodies would turn into crystals and become incredibly tough. The hundreds of blood crystal wolves were obviously the rulers of this area. Their eyes were as sharp as knives, and they were much bigger than the average wolf pups. They looked more like strong sheep. These wolves did not rush forward when they saw the humans. This was very strange. Look, the students were scared out of their wits. They looked around. 1,000 meters away, a blood wolf king sat. A few commander-level wolves surrounded the blood wolf king. The blood wolf king slowly stood up, raised its neck and howled. Oh whoa! Everyone only felt a sense of fear explode from the bottom of their skulls like beans exploding. The hundreds of wolf soldiers gathered strength in their forelimbs and raised their tails high. They were like a row of well-trained soldiers, and like a sword out of its sheath, they rushed toward the students. Chi! Warm blood spurted out from the throat of the mage at the front. Their lives lasted for only a few seconds. Those who were still alive fell heavily to the ground and lost their lives. Lan's side had already lost one person. I seal. Lan's face turned serious. She raised the magic scepter in her hand, and the fifth soul stone on it lit up. Countless icicles fell from the sky. The icicles were as sharp as arrows, and they smashed toward the wolves. Almost at the same time, Lu Tongtian did not show any weakness. Thunder rumbled and purple lightning flashed. They danced like snakes and pounced on the wolves. Lan and Lu Tongtian were the two most outstanding people in the continent's magic elite camp. They had entered and exited the Duqian blood beast world many times, so they were very familiar with this area. However, this was the first time they had encountered such a large group of blood crystal wolves. When the two faced danger, they were only surprised for a moment. Fortunately, they did not panic. One was an advanced ice element spell, Ice Seal, while the other was an advanced thunder element spell, Thunderbolt. His attack power was astonishing, and he killed dozens of high-level blood crystal wolves in an instant. Under the leadership of the two duels, the other students didn't show any signs of weakness. Yunsheng and Abandon both rushed into the wolf pack. Due to the influence of the blood mist, the students with lower cultivation bases were affected by the blood mist. More or less, their cultivation bases and magic power were greatly reduced. Whether it was his chanting or his reflexes, they were both worse than before. Only Chen Lian-er and Feng Tian were slightly better. One of them had a magic bracelet on her, and her magic power was tyrannical. As for Feng Tian, he'd killed several hundred blood crystal wolves earlier, and had long since honed his excellent killing ability. The two of them slaughtered their way into the pack of wolves like a hot knife through butter. Their attacks were vicious. The numbers on their magic badges soared. When Lu Tongtian saw this, he couldn't help but be overjoyed. He shot a provocative glance at Blue. Who would have thought that Lan was looking in another direction at this moment, with a hint of curiosity on her face. Lu Tongtian followed Azura's gaze. With one look, Lu Tongtian couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. After entering the middle area of the Duqian blood beast world, Abandon entered the wolf pack like a fish in water. He used a special poison spell to begin with, and combined it with the wind spell he'd just learned. His attack range was even wider. Once the wolf pack came into contact with the poison spell, their reactions would be slow. Abandon's attacks were clean and efficient, and he'd killed many wolves. But compared to Abandon, there was one person who made Blue and Lu Tongtian feel even more shameful. That was Yunsheng. Yes, it was really shameful. Was she even considered a sorcerer like this? The wolves in front of them were high-level blood cloud beasts. Almost all the sorcerers in front of them had used their signature spells. Yunxiang was different from Abandon. She didn't use any high-level spells. She only relied on her speed. Whether it was magic or attacking, Yunxiang was faster than the average person. Her technique was so fast that it was dazzling. As for magic, she didn't use high-level spells. Or rather, she didn't know any high-level spells at all. She and Abandon walked side by side. The two of them stood on the left and right, like two axes with a blade, piercing into the pack of blood cloud wolves. Seeing that Abandon had poisoned a large number of wolves, Yunxiang would either wait for an opportunity to stab or use a tricky little spell. She wouldn't meet force with force. If there was no chance, she would immediately dodge and wait for the next opportunity to stab. But in Blue's opinion, Yunxiang wasn't so simple. She looked like she was just stabbing, but it wasn't completely without order. When she attacked, it was just a stab or a spell, but it was often fatal. She would either stab the soul stone in the middle and pierce it, or use a flame explosion to hit the wolf's heart. Blue had previously wondered how Yunxiang could achieve the first kill record of more than 500 blood cloud beasts with her cultivation level. But now Blue already had the answer. Every move was fatal. Yunxiang didn't have a weapon in her hand, but she was faster than a warrior with a weapon. There were several times when she could kill a blood cloud wolf in one hit. Moreover, she was using magic while killing wolves with her bare hands. If it was an ordinary wolf, it would be easy to understand. But Yunxiang was facing a high-tier blood cloud wolf. On Lu Tongtian's side, Chun Lianer and Feng Tian's magic badges were increasing rapidly. On Blue's side, beside Yunxiang and Abandon, the wolves were like the autumn wind sweeping away fallen leaves. Wolf corpses were scattered all over the ground. Seeing this, the other students were also affected by their unstoppable momentum. They all took a deep breath and charged towards the wolves. Blue, that's a competition between normal students. Our battlefield is over there. Lu Tongtian's gaze shifted. Hundreds of blood cloud wolves against dozens of students. They should be able to barely handle it. Based on the current situation, Lu Tongtian and Blue's teams were evenly matched. It would be difficult to determine who was better. If the two teams were to compete, the key to victory would be the few commander-level wolf generals and the blood cloud wolf king that was close to king level. According to the mainland's Magic Elite Camp's battle record calculation system, a blood cloud beast was worth 1 battle point. A commander-level blood cloud beast was worth 10 battle points. A king-level blood cloud beast was worth 100 battle points. Therefore, killing the Wolf King and the commander-level magical beasts was the key. How could Blue not know this? A burst of icy air condensed in Blue's hands, and a small mirror-like ice shield appeared in front of her. The ice shield was special. As long as the wolves pounced on Blue, the ice shield would automatically move. That was the super spell Blue had obtained from the Magic Forest's Royal Tree when she broke through to the Saint-level Mage King level. Roaming Dragon Shield. This shield could block attacks from many angles. For a mage like Blue, it was effective against sneak attacks. Lu Tongtian also began chanting. A layer of grayish-green magic appeared on his body. That was the super spell Lu Tongtian had obtained after breaking through to the Saint level, Wood Armor. Chapter 745. Indigo and Lu Tongtian pounced towards the wolf pack at almost the same time. The Wolf King was still majestic and didn't move at all. It sat proudly on the side and watched the slaughter. The 4 commander-level blood crystal wolves under it moved first. Then they heard a few bangs. The 4 commander-level monsters split into 4 groups, 2 in pairs, and instantly surrounded Lu Tongtian and Indigo. Lu Tongtian stomped his feet and turned into a flash, dodging a wolf that was pouncing towards him. He waved the magic scepter in his hand, and several lightning bolts as thick as an arm struck towards the wolf's waist. Who knew that the blood crystal wolf that was dodged would leap into the air and claw towards Lu Tongtian's back? Lu Tongtian didn't dodge, and the sharp wolf claws tore open his wooden armor. There was a crack in the armor, but it only took an instant for the damaged part of the armor to repair itself. Thunderflash hit a commander-level wolf general's waist, and it let out a cry of pain. The wolf general was split in half at the waist. On Indigo's side, she had just jumped up when she saw 2 commander-level wolf generals pounce towards her from the Wolf King's side. The wolf pack's jumping ability was amazing, and they jumped 7 to 8 meters high. The wolf pack clawed at Indigo's neck. Yunsheng and Qi, who weren't far away, were shocked. At that moment, the nimble shield in front of Indigo cleverly blocked the wolf's attack. The magic scepter in Indigo's hand spat out an ice blade and pierced the wolf's chest. Indigo's eyes flashed, and the ice shield flew out diagonally, smashing into another wolf's head. With a clang, the ice shield and the wolf's head collided, and brain matter instantly flowed all over the ground. Lu Tongtian and Indigo took care of the two commander-level wolf generals almost at the same time. They didn't hesitate at all, and they didn't even have time to meditate. Like two bolts of lightning, they surrounded the Wolf King. Lu Tongtian was afraid of falling behind, and before he arrived, he had already completed his magic incantation. The dark purple lightning was like thousands of tree branches in a storm, striking towards the Wolf King. Under such an attack of thunderflash, no one could survive. Indigo's magic scepter glowed with a cold blue light. She waved the magic scepter, and an icy aura swept out like an angry wave, forcing the power of thunder and lightning to retreat. Indigo, you dare to stop me! Lu Tongtian roared angrily like a mad dog. He turned the magic scepter, and streaks of purple lightning struck towards Indigo. For a moment, the field alternated between purple and blue, and the two magic powers collided. However, right at that moment, Yunsheng noticed that the Wolf King had suddenly moved. Since the beginning of the battle, the Wolf King had been unusually calm. It did not seem like an unintelligent beast at all. Just as Lan and Lu Tongtian were on bad terms, a human-like calculation appeared in the depths of the Wolf King's eyes. Neither Lan nor Lu Tongtian noticed. However, this scheme was caught by Yunsheng. Indigo, 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 go Indigo, Indigo, go Indigo, Indigo. A woo, with a powerful howl, the Wolf King that had been sitting on the ground suddenly soared into the air. Its four strong and powerful limbs were like a taut bow. This leap was actually dozens of meters high. Its sharp claws and teeth like blades scratched Lu Tongtian's armor. Idiot! Lu Tongtian sneered. His wood armor spell was invulnerable. Just as the wolf's claws pierced Lu Tongtian's armor, the Wolf King opened its mouth and spat out a ball of fire. Seeing the fire, Lu Tongtian's face showed fear for the first time. His wood armor spell was invulnerable and had a strong regenerative ability, but there was one thing: wood was afraid of fire. Once the wood armor spell came into contact with fire, it would be broken. A wolf actually knew how to use magic to suppress magic. When Lu Tongtian, who was first on the magic list, realized it, it was already too late. The Wolf King's sharp claws pierced his chest, and he was knocked back dozens of meters by the strong impact. Indigo felt the tremor. She knew that something was wrong, and she had already taken a few steps back. But how could the Wolf King allow her to retreat? The Wolf King leaped up, and its claws slashed at Indigo's throat. The wandering dragon shield was eager to protect its master, and blocked the Wolf King's claws in time. Whoosh! The wolf's claws suddenly changed, and turned into a human hand. At that moment, all the students were inexplicably terrified. What did they see? The Wolf King's body was rapidly changing in midair. Its fur faded, and the Wolf King's fur-covered body turned into the body of a strong adult man. It was an orc man who was nearly 2 meters tall, proficient in magic, and at the same time possessing the terrifying power of a demonic beast. A descendant of the 8 Desolates. At this time, the wolf man had already landed and completely transformed into a human, and the wandering dragon shield was in his hand. This person was the Green Tooth of the Green Nether Wolf tribe that Indigo mentioned before. The Green Nether Wolf tribe was a middle-level orc tribe among the Bakra orcs. Green Tooth was a wild orc. He had a head of messy gray hair, and he was only wearing shorts that looked like an apron. His upper body was naked, and there was a tattoo of a wolf's head with a green face and fangs. His body was covered with old wounds, and it was obvious that he was a fierce warrior who had experienced all kinds of battles. It had to be said that this wolf man was not only powerful, but he was also smart. Just now he had mixed in with the wolf pack, and caused Indigo and Lu Tongtian to be careless. Midway, he suddenly attacked, and that was how they managed to defeat the 2 saint-level law emperors. No one had expected that they would meet the person they least wanted to meet the moment they entered the Dutian blood beast world. Human, prepare to die. Qingya spat out a cold sentence. He had already seen through that this group was just a motley crew. As long as he killed the 2 saint-level law emperors in the lead, then the rest of them would sooner or later become fat meat in the mouths of his wolf cubs. A sharp glint flashed in the wolf's eyes. He grabbed the trembling wandering dragon shield with one hand, and grabbed Indigo's neck with the other hand as fast as lightning. In his eyes, killing a human mage at close range was as easy as strangling a wild chicken. Sister Lan. In the nick of time, Yunsheng blurted out a spell without thinking. High-level spacetime spell, spacetime prohibition. At this moment, the wolf-man's claws were just inches away from Indigo's throat. At that moment his hand suddenly stopped, and his whole body stiffened, unable to move. Yunsheng's spacetime prohibition could only last for 3 seconds, but in a battle between experts, victory and defeat was often decided in the blink of an eye. The wandering dragon shield suddenly broke free from the man's hand. At that moment, Indigo had already used her life-saving spell. The wandering dragon shield emitted a cold light, and 6 sharp ice blades popped out of the shield. The shield that could save lives instantly turned into a flying wheel that could take lives. The wandering dragon shield spun rapidly and brushed past Green Tooth's neck. In a breath, the spacetime prohibition had lost its effect. Chapter 746. Caught off guard. A half-foot-long bloody wound appeared on Qingya's neck. It was so deep that bone could be seen, and blood gushed out like a fountain. Qingya covered the wound as blood flowed out from between his fingers. He staggered back a few steps. A layer of ice quickly formed on his wound, and bone-chilling ice-type magic power was seeping into his body. If not for the fact that he had the body of a magical beast and had thick skin and flesh, that blow just now would have separated his head from his body. But what made Qingya wary was not the blow just now. What surprised him was the magic that made him unable to move at the last moment. That magic had clearly surpassed the various magic that Qingya already knew of. Could it be that he had underestimated this group of people, and that there was an even more powerful magician hidden among them? In the crowd, Qingya began to search for the magician who had secretly made a move. His suspicious gaze swept over the several students one by one. In the end he locked onto 3 people. Abandoned Chanliana and Fengtian. Qingya had secretly observed the enemy just now and had long confirmed that Lu Tongtian and Lan were the strongest in this human team of more than 30 people. The rest were the 3 sky magicians who had used advanced magic earlier. Among these 3 people, who was the one who attacked? Qingya was wary of the magician hiding in the dark, and did not dare to rashly attack again. Without the Wolf King's order, those wolf pups also stopped fighting. Just as Qingya was hesitating, a strange beast roar came from a certain direction behind him. Hearing that beast roar, Qingya spat out a mouthful of saliva. He glared fiercely at the crowd. "Count yourselves lucky. Wolf pups, let's go." He raised his head and let out a deafening howl. The blood crystal wolves that had not died retreated in an orderly manner. In a short while the wolf pack disappeared, leaving only wolf and human corpses on the ground. From start to finish, the entire process lasted for several hours. Even though Qingya had left, the crisis was not over. The legs of the students were all weak, and their expressions were extremely unsightly. The ground was littered with wolf corpses. Most of the people had suffered light injuries. Fortunately, there were not many people who were seriously injured. Compared to them, the ones who suffered the most were the 2 team leaders. Azura rolled on the ground, her face as white as a sheet. She had managed to dodge Qingya's killing move at the last moment, but she had been affected by the battle chi and suffered serious internal injuries. Lu Tongtian's situation was even worse than Blue's. He had been struck in the chest by Green Fong, and many of his ribs were broken. At this moment he was barely holding on to his last breath. Although Lu Tongtian and Azura were both injured by Qingya, at least from the looks of the situation, Azura had injured Qingya at the final moment. In fact, Blue had won. Both Lan and Lu Tongtian were the trump cards of the continent's magic elite camp, but in front of this man from the Wolf clan, who had appeared out of nowhere, they seemed to be unable to withstand a single blow. One of the reasons for this was that the blood evil chi in the Duqian blood beast world was too powerful. It had eroded their dharma souls and greatly reduced their cultivation. Another reason was that the 2 of them were still fighting each other at crucial moments. Now that both of them were seriously injured, they could only stare at each other. The students on both sides were trembling with fear. One of the braver ones stepped forward. Senior brother, senior sister. This Dutian blood beast world is too dangerous. Let's go out. The other students also wanted to leave as soon as possible. Lu Tongtian and Azura did not speak. This time they had all failed in their duties. If they did not complete the mission, the two elders would definitely scold them when they left. But in their current state, if they met an expert like Qingya again, they would not even have a chance to survive, let alone rescue them. Even though Greentooth came alone just now, that strange beast roar just now was definitely emitted by his companion. At this moment, Azura and Lu Tongtian were unwilling to be the first to leave. No one wanted to be the one to retreat. Fourth elder had said 24-hour. Even if they did not rescue anyone, they had to stay in the blood beast world for a full 24-hour. Sister Lan, let me take a look at your wound first. Yun Sheng kindly stepped forward, wanting to take a look at Lan's wound. She had just taken Lan's hand when Lan clasped it back. Her eyes were fixed on Yun Sheng. You take my place. Yun Sheng was taken aback. She understood Lan's meaning. Lan wanted her to take her place and lead the team to complete the rest of the rescue mission. But why her? Yun Sheng was not ranked in this team in terms of seniority and cultivation. Her only advantage was that Yun Sheng was a doctor. Yun Sheng and Lan had only met twice, and both times were not pleasant. Lan was a genius and powerful, but Yun Sheng did not dare to compliment her personality. Towards Lan, Yun Sheng had always avoided her as much as possible. Thank you. Lan leaned close to Yun Sheng. Using a voice that only the two of them could hear, she whispered into Yun Sheng's ear. Although her voice was low, Yun Sheng heard it. She did not expect that this senior sister, who was as proud as a winter plum, actually knew how to say thank you. The fight between Lan and Qingya had only paused for a few seconds. In the chaos, no one else had noticed that Qingya had been hit by a spacetime prohibition spell. But Lan had noticed it. It was also because of that spacetime magic that Lan was able to save her life. At the last moment, she had even turned the situation around and fought back. So the one who had forced Qingya to retreat was not Lan, but the sorcerer who had attacked secretly. Lan had once heard the great elder mention that the disciple of the Dark Gold Mentor had learned a useless forbidden spell in the magic forest, spacetime prohibition. Lan had also said disdainfully that a spacetime prohibition that could only last for 3 seconds was useless. She did not expect that this time, it was these insignificant 3 seconds that had saved her life. Lan's heart was filled with mixed feelings, but she did not forget the fourth elder's instructions. She thought about it and finally decided to let Yun Sheng replace her as the temporary leader. Seeing that Yun Sheng was chosen as the leader, a few people in the team showed dissatisfaction. Hearing that Lan had appointed Yun Sheng as the temporary leader, Lu Tongtian could not back down. He gritted his teeth. Lian Er, you replace me and lead everyone to continue the mission. Hearing this, Chun Lian Er's heart was filled with joy. She is not worthy. Fengtian stood up. It was impossible for him to listen to Chun Lian Er's orders. Fengtian, this is not the elite camp. There are no elders to protect you. Either obey my orders or scram, Lu Tongtian said angrily. His injuries were not light, but his authority was still there, and the students did not dare to disobey him. But Fengtian was a tough nut to crack. He snorted and left the team without looking back. He had always liked to act alone. A team was just a burden to him. The temporary leaders of both sides had been chosen. Chapter 747. Abandon, you stay behind to take care of Sister Lan and the other injured students. Yun Sheng did a head count. Excluding a few heavily injured students and Lan, she chose 7 or 8 people to go with her into the central region of the Duqian blood beast world. Yun Sheng, I think I should go with you. Abandon was unwilling to stay behind to take care of Lan. He knew that the central region of the Duqian blood beast world was full of danger. He was worried that Yun Sheng could not handle it alone. Don't worry. I'll definitely come back safe and sound. Yun Sheng's confidence also infected Abandon. On the contrary, Chun Lianer made the decision to take away all available combat power. Stupid, leaving the main combat power behind to take care of the injured at a time like this. Abandon was undoubtedly the trump card of Yunshang's team, but she left Abandon behind. How did she manage to be a temporary leader? Yunshang, stop pretending to be a saint. You think that by leaving someone behind to take care of Lan, she will be grateful to you in the future? Chen Lianer was disdainful. Senior Lu, we will definitely save the others. Take care of yourself. After Chen Lianer received the position of temporary leader, she brought along everyone who could still fight, regardless of whether they were heavily injured or not. Lu Tongtian was unhappy, but he did not say much. The two teams walked a few steps, when Chen Lianer suddenly stopped. If any of you want to join our team, you still have a chance to choose. This competition is no small matter. The loser will lose the right to participate in the next 8 Baron Relics mission. Do you really think you can win if you follow her? After all, as the temporary leader, Yunshang was not powerful enough and did not have enough prestige. Just now in the campsite, they had reluctantly followed Yunshang because of Lan. Now that senior apprentice Sister Lan wasn't here and Chen Lian had thrown out an olive branch, a few people started to hesitate. Senior Chen, do you mean what you say? Every student in the campsite wanted to participate in the search for the relics. If the opportunity was good and they found the relics, their status and identity would be elevated. You know my relationship with senior brother Lu. He will definitely listen to my words. If you follow her, you won't stand a chance at all. She's not even a sky magician, Chen Lianer said, and the students behind her burst into laughter. Yunshang didn't get angry. Behind her, 3 or 4 students walked out and joined Chen Lianer's team. As a result, there were only 4 people left in Yunshang's team. These people didn't want to join Chen Lianer's team because they couldn't stand her behavior. Just you wait. Once we save the others, you will regret it. Chen Lianer saw that she had achieved her goal and left with a dozen people. The few students who stayed behind were a little anxious. Yunshang, there are only a few of us. How are we going to save them? Why don't we go back first and ask Sister Lan for her opinion? Yunshang didn't think so. Sometimes having fewer people was an advantage. At least this time, she didn't have to face the situation of internal strife. No need. It's just saving people. Too many people will only make things worse. Let's sneak into the enemy's campsite first and then make plans. Yunshang didn't care. Enemy's campsite? But we don't even know where they are. The few students were doubtful. Just now, I've already sprinkled a special powder on the bodies of the blood crystal wolves. As long as we follow the smell of this herb, we can quickly find the enemy's campsite. Yunshang mocked as she looked at Chen Lianer, who had already disappeared. Yunshang led the 4 students and rushed towards the center of the Dutian blood beast world. In reality, if Chen Lianer was cooperative, Yunshang wouldn't mind cooperating with her for a short period of time. But that woman was a narrow-minded person. Since that was the case, he would let her and her group of comrades slowly search in the blood beast metropolis world. Just as Yunshang and the rest were rapidly approaching the stronghold of the descendants of the Bakra orcs, the injured Green Tooth had just rushed back. He didn't realize that his wolf pack had been tricked by Yunshang. Oh, Green Tooth, you failed miserably. Seeing Green Tooth's appearance, the few people, including Green, couldn't help but be shocked. Although Green Tooth was not the most powerful among them in terms of attack power, he was still one of the top 5. To be able to injure Green Tooth to this extent, the opponent's ability was evident. Bah, don't mention it. We were tricked. What were you guys yelling about just now? If I hadn't heard the signal, I would have torn that group of magicians into pieces. Green Tooth had heard their assembly signal just now and hurried back. What else could it be? It's time to enter the Dutian Blood Seal and search for the Beast King's Saraira. We don't have much time. That space-time gap is about to close. Green glanced at Green Tooth's wound and casually threw him a bottle of medicine. Green Tooth gulped down a few mouthfuls, and the wound on his neck stopped bleeding immediately. That's right. Lest that woman He Linlin takes the lead again. There's no time to lose. Let's set off immediately. Wait, if you all leave, what about the hostages? Hu Linglong's expression was a little unnatural when she heard that they were going to the Dutian Blood Seal to search for the Beast King's Saraira. They're just some insignificant people. I'll feed them to my wolf pups. Green Tooth saw that the group of people's attire was the same as the group of people who had slaughtered his wolf pups earlier, and a surge of anger surged in his heart. No, this group of people are sorcerers. I want their dermic souls. Hu Ling glared. Then you can stay here and guard the hostages. Women are troublesome. Green Tooth couldn't be bothered with Hu Linglong. It was also a problem. She didn't want the celestial fox Saraira and wanted the human dermic souls instead. The others also ignored Hu Linglong and all headed towards the Dutian blood seal. Linglong and the others, is this really okay? What if we can't find the celestial fox Saraira? One of Hu Linglong's subordinates was worried. Shut up. If I can't get the celestial fox Saraira, do you think that trash can find it? Hu Linglong was annoyed. Hu Linglong was still hiding a secret in her heart. The others could easily enter the celestial fox tomb, but she had some scruples. That was because Hu Linglong wasn't the real celestial fox saintess. I'm in a bad mood. Go and grab a sorcerer. I want to vent my anger. Hu Linglong looked at the Dutian blood seal irritably. Legend had it that those who were recognized by the Beast King Saraira were likely to obtain supreme power. Unfortunately, a sorcerer was quickly pulled out. What are you doing? Seeing Hu Linglong's malicious smile, the sorcerer who had recovered his consciousness shrank back. I'm just using your dermic soul to nourish my precious magic scepter. What are you afraid of? The pain will only last for a moment. A sinister smile appeared on Hu Linglong's unusually beautiful face. Chapter 748. In the dark, Yunsheng and a few students saw this scene. She and a few students followed the scent of the blood crystal wolf all the way here. She also saw Green. She did not expect Green to be with these people. Yunsheng did not act on her own. She ordered the students not to act rashly and waited quietly. Fortunately, it did not take long for the few young men and women who looked very powerful to leave separately. From what she heard, they seemed to want to enter the core area of the Dutian blood beast world, to look for something called a Saraira. After these people left, only the girl called Hu Linglong was left behind. Looking at Hu Linglong's appearance, Yunsheng could tell that Hu Linglong should be a descendant of the celestial fox people. However, although this girl looked beautiful, there was a sense of unruliness and viciousness between her brows. She did not look like a kind person. Hu Linglong did not know that someone was spying on her in the dark. The magic scepter in Hu Linglong's hand was very special. It did not look like it was made of ordinary beast bones. With Yunsheng's understanding of the structure of bones, she recognized at a glance that Hu Linglong's magic scepter was made of human bones. At the top of the magic scepter, there was also a skull shaped like human bones. There was only a soul stone on the skull, which was held in the skull's mouth. Just looking at such a magic scepter would make one's hair stand on end. Following Hu Linglong's incantation, the soul stone shot out a dark light. The dark light was like a crafty little snake that drilled into the magic student's skull. There was a cloud of black mist between his brows. The mist kept twisting and turning. The student's expression also changed. First he was in pain rolling around on the ground, but gradually he lost the ability to struggle. His eyes became dull and saliva flowed out of his mouth. He even lost the ability to speak and could only moan. A cloud of light appeared on top of his head. The other students didn't recognize that thing, but Yunsheng did. Back in Banana Leaf Village, Great Magician Zhou had used a similar method and chant in an attempt to seize Yi Baiming's Dharma Soul. The Dharma Soul seemed to want to struggle, but it couldn't resist the power of Hu Linglong's magic scepter, and was sucked into the scepter. He then looked at Hu Linglong's magic scepter. After the soul stone absorbed the magic soul of a magic student, the soul stone strangely grew in size. Only then did Yunsheng understand that the soul stone on Hu Linglong's magic scepter was actually growing by absorbing the souls of living people. What kind of sorcery was this? There was actually such a way to nourish a magic scepter on the continent. Yunsheng felt a chill in her heart. Beside her, a female magic student let out a low growl. Yunsheng looked back and saw that the female magic student's eyes were full of tears. This female magic student probably knew the student who was killed. It was really cruel for these students to witness their friends or colleagues being killed by such sorcery. Yunsheng made a gesture and the few of them quietly moved to the side. Just as they entered the safe zone, the female magic student jumped up. I'm going to save them. Are you sure you're going to save them and not die? Yunsheng said coldly. Are we going to watch them be tortured to death? I really regret following you. If it was Chun Lianer's group, I definitely wouldn't have sat back and watched, the female student said angrily. You think Chun Lianer can beat that evil woman? I'm afraid even Lu Tongtian may not be their match. Don't forget, they are in cahoots with that werewolf. They can't even beat one, let alone a group. Yun Shang's words forced down the students' originally excited emotions. They also knew that Yun Shang was telling the truth. Then what should we do? Although these elite camp students were all geniuses, they were still from noble families. Faced with such a thorny situation, they were at a loss and had no idea what to do. We have to save them, but the prerequisite is that we have to protect our own lives. We're here to save them, not to die. Before they come back, we have to think of a comprehensive plan. Yun Shang thought for a moment and quickly came up with an idea. She divided the four of them into two groups. One group would go find the fourth elder, and the other would sneak out to deliver the news to the second elder. In the Duqian blood beast world, many descendants of the Bahuang tribe had suddenly appeared, and each of them seemed to have good skills and strength. If one of these people appeared, it might be a coincidence. But for so many of them to appear at once, even gathering all the descendants of the Bahuang tribe, this matter was not simple. Something must have happened in the core area of the Duqian blood beast world. The current situation was not something that Yun Shang and the others could handle alone. She needed reinforcements. The other two would stay behind with her to guard the empty ship, to prevent the other party from suddenly moving the ship. After they heard this, they also felt that Yun Shang's arrangement was the most appropriate one. The two of them quickly left under the cover of the night. Yun Shang and the other two students hid in the shadows. After Hu Linglong absorbed the Dharma soul, she entered the cabin to meditate and adjust her breathing. That demented student was also left outside. In the latter half of the night, the people on the empty ship were already resting. The colorful empty ship was parked not far away. I'll go up and take a look, Yun Shang said. Her figure flashed, and she was already near the empty ship. Who is it? Unexpectedly, just as Yun Shang jumped into Class A, she suddenly heard a stern voice. Yun Shang cursed in her heart. A guard of the celestial fox people barged in. With a flash of light, he was patrolling when he suddenly saw someone barge in. Yun Shang secretly gripped her magic scepter tightly, waiting for the other party to come close to kill immediately. Unexpectedly, when that person saw Yun Shang, he was first shocked. Then he hurriedly knelt down and respectfully greeted. Lord Holy Maiden, why have you come? Holy Maiden? Yun Shang was a little confused. But looking at the fox guard's reaction, he seemed to have mistaken Yun Shang for some holy maiden. Yun Shang thought for a moment and decided to go with the flow. She did not want to reveal her identity first. She deliberately pretended to be cold and arrogant. Why? Can't I come? That's not what I meant. Lady Linglong said that the holy maiden has caught a cold and can't come. That's why she brought us and the priests out. It seemed that there was something wrong with Hu Linglong's identity. Humph, I already knew that Hu Linglong was disloyal. My body has already recovered. I was worried that there would be problems with this mission, so I rushed over. What's wrong with these people? The guard refused to answer at first. He knew that the holy maiden of the celestial fox people had been kind and compassionate since young. Even when facing the human race, she didn't want to hurt the innocent. But why did the holy maiden look a little different today? Chapter 749. It seems that you don't take me, the saintess, seriously. Although she didn't know what the saintess was, judging from the guard's reaction, her status shouldn't be lower than Hu Linglong's. Yun Shang gave the guard a cold stare, and the guard shuddered. The saintess, who had always been gentle, suddenly showed her power. The guard was shocked and hurriedly explained, Saintess, please calm down. I don't dare. These people were captured by Lady Linglong. She said that she wanted to use them as sacrifices for the magic scepter. Where are those people now? Yun Shang glanced at the empty ship. This empty ship was much bigger than the one she got from the Hidden Night Pavilion. This colorful empty ship looked very special. She couldn't rule out the possibility that there were other magic arrays on the empty ship. The guard felt that something was wrong with the saintess tonight. In his memory, the saintess rarely showed herself. Usually, even when she went out, Hu Linglong would accompany her and pass on the message. But tonight he didn't know if it was because of the night, or the guard felt that the saintess tonight, just by standing there, gave people a feeling that she was sharp and couldn't be underestimated. The guard had doubts in his heart. He secretly raised his head, but that face was indeed the holy maiden's, the saintess of the celestial fox people. In terms of appearance, even her cousin, Lady Linglong, was ashamed of her inferiority. The guard's abnormality attracted Yunshang's attention. Yunshang's heart skipped a beat. Her eyes changed, and a golden light flashed in her black eyes. The guard's mind went blank instantly, as if he was struck by lightning. "Tell me, where are those people who were kidnapped?" Yunshang breathed a sigh of relief. Her Shinong pupil had improved a lot compared to before. She was confident that she could control a celestial fox guard with good strength. What's more, the guard had always thought that Yunshang was the saintess of the celestial fox people. He was in awe of Yunshang and let his guard down. That was why he was easily hypnotized by Yunshang's Shinong pupil. The guard took Yunshang to a cabin. Yunshang took a look. Except for the student who was already in a daze, everyone else was locked inside. When those people saw Yunshang, they immediately became restless. "Quiet. Tell me first, how many people are here?" Yunshang was afraid of startling the others on the empty ship. She looked around. Not only were there people of the mainland's elite mage camp, but there were also people of the mainland's elite warrior camp, and even some aristocratic family members of the mainland. Among these people who Linglong had been captured a few days. Hu Linglong would extract one person's spiritual soul every day. When they saw their companions become dazed, they were all frightened and uneasy. When they finally saw someone coming to rescue them, they all swarmed over. After asking about the number of people, Yunshang confirmed whether there were any injuries among these people. As a result, most of them were more or less injured when they were captured. In order to prevent those magicians and warriors from escaping, Hu Linglong also used the spiritual soul lock. As for the warriors, their fighting energy was sealed by a special restriction. What a vicious woman! Yunshang couldn't help but frown. This Hu Linglong seemed to be a very scheming person. There was no news from the disciple who went to deliver the letter to the two elders. Lu Tongtian and Sister Lan's accidental injuries caused the mainland's elite mage camp to lose more than half of their combat power. The rest of the students were also a motley crew. To save them, I'm afraid. Yunshang frowned and thought for a moment. Then she looked at the pairs of frightened eyes in the dark cabin. She suddenly came up with a plan. Who are the people on the ship, and where is the cockpit? The guard was at a loss as he told Yunshang about it. On the empty ship, Hu Linglong was meditating and turning the spiritual soul of the human student into her own. At this moment there was a hurried knock on the door. A guard outside the door said, "Lady Linglong, there are assassins on the ship. The human in the cabin has escaped." What? When Hu Linglong heard that, she grabbed her magic scepter and rushed out. She went to the cabin where the person was held captive and saw that it was empty. There was not a single person inside. "Damn human. Men, call the 6 priests and chase after them with me." Hubo followed the guard's instructions and led several masters of the celestial fox people to chase in the direction of the fugitive. Just as Hu Linglong left, Yunshang and a few other students poked their heads out from another storage room. The dozens of hostages from earlier did not escape at all. They were just urgently handled by Yunshang and moved to the cabin next door. Hu Linglong only checked the original cabin and did not expect that the person she was chasing was actually next door. Especially those few students, they were really worried that they would be discovered by Hu Linglong. Then, "Captain Yun, what should we do next?" The two students now recognized Yunshang as the captain. "There's no time to lose. Drive the empty ship away immediately. The captain is temporarily under control." Yunshang found the cockpit all the way. Like the guard from earlier, the captain also mistook Yunshang for the saintess of the celestial fox people and fell into Yunshang's trap. Hu Linglong led a group of masters of the celestial fox people and chased after the captain under the lead of the fox guard. After chasing for a full half an hour, they still did not see any trace of the captain. Hu Linglong could not help but be suspicious. Not to mention the assassins who broke into the empty ship. How could the hostages who had their Dharma souls and Do Chi restrained run so far away? They could not catch up with them even with magic? Halt! Are you certain that those people fled in this direction? Hu Linglong shouted at the guard in front of her. Unexpectedly, the guard was at a loss and could not answer for a long time. Lord Linglong, there's something wrong with this person. Among the 6 priests behind Hu Linglong, the one who looked the oldest walked out. He knew some spells of witchcraft. He saw that the guard's eyes were dull and his words were incoherent. From the looks of it, he was very similar to those who had been poisoned with witchcraft spells. At this time the sky in the distance flashed with a 5-colored light. Damn it, we've been lured away. Hurry, let's go back. Hu Linglong was fuming with anger. That 5-colored empty ship was her father's treasure. If she lost it, she would definitely be punished when she returned. On the empty ship, Yun Shang and the 2 students only heaved a sigh of relief when the empty ship left the ground. As long as the empty ship left the central area of the Dutian Blood Beast world, they would be safe. Captain Yun, it's not good. Those people are coming again. After flying for a quarter of an hour and seeing that they were about to enter the outer area of the Dutian Blood Beast world, a student on the deck panicked and pointed below the empty ship. Chapter 750. The group of Heavenly Fox Clan powerhouses led by Hu Linglong all had decent cultivation, and were already at the level of sky magicians. The 7 of them spread their wings and flew. The airship was about to fly out of the central area of the Dutian Beast Blood world. If it left the central area, it was likely to be ambushed by the human clan. Hu Linglong did not dare to rashly pursue. When Hu Linglong found that the entire airship had been stolen, she was furious. Although she could not figure out why even the captain betrayed her. She killed the Celestial Fox people's bodyguard who had been hypnotized. She chased all the way and finally caught up with the colorful airship before it flew out of the central area of the Dutian Beast Blood world. People on the ship, stop immediately. Otherwise, don't blame me for washing the airship with blood. Hu Linglong's magician robe fluttered in the night wind. Her pretty face was full of murderous intent. Several Celestial Fox people's priests behind her chanted in unison. The magic scepters in their hands shot out 6 rays of magic light. The 6 rays of light intertwined and formed a huge magic net. The magic net shrouded the airship. The airship, which was originally flying at high speed, slowed down as if it had fallen into a quagmire. Not good, the airship is blocked. It can't fly. The 2 students were uneasy. Once the airship can move again, immediately escape. Yun Shang frowned and ordered the captain. She immediately called the Celestial Fox people to the ship, and called 2 magicians to get off the ship with her. After Yun Shang finished speaking, she and the 2 magicians jumped off the airship like arrows. Hu Linglong shouted for a long time, but the airship still did not stop. She was about to get angry when she suddenly saw several people jump off the airship. Reckless. Just a few magicians want to stop us. You're really courting death. Hu Linglong sneered. When they jumped off, she shot out many flaming arrows. Yun Shang and the 2 magicians were not slow either. They dodged many magic attacks. Yun Shang did not say anything and directly rushed toward Hu Linglong and the others. Suddenly, the people of the Celestial Fox people felt their bodies freeze. Then a thick fog suddenly appeared in the sky. In just 3 or 4 seconds, the magic net temporarily lost its effect, and the originally trapped ship regained its freedom. The people on the empty ship also listened to Yun Shang's order, and rushed out under the cover of the fog without any hesitation. Damn it, what's going on? Hu Linglong also lost consciousness for a moment. When she recovered, the thick fog blocked their vision again. By the time the fog dissipated, the multicolored airship had already taken advantage of that time to escape without a trace. Lady Linglong, one of those magicians, knows forbidden magic, while the other one knows elven magic. Be careful, the opponent is not simple. A priest recognized the magic. They thought that the 2 spells were cast by different mages. Despicable human magicians, I'll tear you to shreds. Hu Linglong's voice was stuck in midair. Earlier, when the magicians jumped off the empty ship, Hu Linglong did not see their faces clearly due to the wind speed and the fog. But now that the fog had dissipated, Hu Linglong saw the faces of the magicians who jumped off the empty ship, especially Yun Shang in the middle. You trash, why are you here? Hu Linglong blurted out subconsciously, pointing at Yun Sheng in the middle with a face as if she had seen a ghost. Yun Sheng did not know this unruly woman at all. Several priests of the Celestial Fox people also noticed at the same time that the magician who jumped off the empty ship looked exactly the same as their saintess of the Celestial Fox people. There was actually such a similar person in the world. And this person was a human. Hu Linglong was suspicious and stared at Yun Sheng again. They really looked the same, almost exactly the same. Whether it was Yun Sheng's appearance or figure, she was exactly the same as her good-for-nothing cousin. But Hu Linglong was stunned. She noticed that Yun Sheng was holding a magic scepter in her hand, and there were wind magic elements around her. This woman was not that trash. That trash did not know how to use magic at all. Although the two of them were somewhat similar, if one looked closely, they would realize that the young girl in front of them was not the same person as the trash saintess of the tribe. Although the face of this human magician, from her facial features to her figure, and even her head, was almost the same as that trash in the tribe. But if one took a few more glances, especially those close to them, it would be easy to recognize that the two of them were not the same person. That trash in the tribe was timid all day long, and even stuttered when speaking, let alone looking people in the eye. But this human girl was extraordinarily confident, and there was a domineering beauty between her eyebrows. They were definitely not the same person. So you're a human. There's a path to heaven but you don't take it. There's no door to hell, but you just have to barge in. Hu Linglong brushed her hair with a flirtatious expression. Hu Linglong usually liked to bully that trash in the tribe. The female magician in front of her actually looked exactly the same as that trash. If she could catch her and torture her, it would give Hu Linglong an inexplicable sense of pleasure. Since the hostage and the empty ship had already escaped, she would catch this woman back and absorb her Dharma soul. Hu Linglong's eyes flashed fiercely. Her bewitching eyes blinked, and the skull on the magic scepter suddenly opened its mouth. Suddenly there was a change in the surroundings. Yun Sheng and the students next to her felt pink all over their bodies, and a charming fragrance hit them in the face. Although Yun Sheng did not know where Hu Linglong came from, after smelling the fragrance, the two people next to her blushed, as if they were drunk, and began to sway. Haha. No one can resist the pink skull formation of my fox clan. Hu Linglong giggled. Is that so? I don't think so. Although Yun Sheng accidentally inhaled a puff of smoke, that was all. Her mind returned to normal in an instant. Impossible, why aren't you affected? Hu Linglong looked as if she had seen a ghost. Because she did not inherit the legacy of a mythical beast, her magic was not very good. But her illusion was one of the best in the Celestial Fox clan. Yun Sheng did not seem to be affected at all. Yun Sheng knew in her heart that a large part of the reason why she was not affected by Hu Linglong's poison was that she was also from the Celestial Fox clan, and her mother was very likely to be related to this seductive woman in front of her. Hu Linglong's illusion level was average, but her illusion was immune to the direct descendants of the Celestial Fox people. Don't think that everything will be fine just because you can break my illusion. I'll let you have a taste of dying in the hands of your companions. Hu Linglong was very cunning. She giggled. The two magicians next to Yun Sheng could no longer distinguish between friend and foe, and attacked Yun Sheng. Chapter 751. After Yi Baiming got rid of He Linlin, he entered the Qilin tomb in the Duqian blood seal alone. As soon as he entered the Qilin tomb, Yi Baiming saw a majestic ancient tomb. Around the ancient tomb there was a large amount of black blood jade. In comparison, it was the Beast King blood jade that Elder Guiyu had mentioned earlier. Yi Baiming picked up a dozen pieces of Beast King blood jade. After picking up the blood jade, Yi Baiming did not leave. He looked around the Qilin tomb. The appearance of the tomb was like a lying Qilin on the ground. It was built with black marble. In front of the Qilin tomb, there was a broken stone tablet with a row of words written on it. The words were in ancient seal script. Yi Baiming had not learned it before, but when he saw the small seal script, lines of words appeared in his mind like reflections. Tomb of the Eight Desolation Qilin King Yixiu. I am the chief of the Bakra orcs Yixiu. This tomb is my resting place. Those who do not belong to my race will have their Dharma soul shattered, and their battle chi shattered. If my race enters, the fated ones can obtain the ancient Qilin relic, and learn the Qilin battle technique. They can transform into the Qilin battle body and become invincible. The Qilin ancient teaching. Those of my race are not to. Yi Baiming read until here and found that a third of the text was missing. Yi Xiu's last words were also cut off here. No one knew what his last words of wisdom were for his descendants. Yi Baiming was pondering over the meaning of Yi Xiu's last words. Suddenly he heard a crisp sound. The stone tablet had actually cracked. In the middle of the stone tablet, there was a black light flickering. The black light was emitted by a piece of pure black jade. The black jade was chirping as it floated in the air. The large number of blood jades seemed insignificant in comparison to it. Even Yi Baiming, who came from the royal family, had never seen such a transparent black jade. A thick and ancient aura emanated from the black jade. Could this be the Qilin relic that Yi Xiu mentioned on the stone tablet? Yi Baiming had a thought in his mind: get it. As long as he got it, he would gain great benefits. Just as Yi Baiming was about to take the black jade, a delicate voice behind him shouted, "Put down the Qilin relic." The mysterious woman in black rushed over. This black-clothed woman was tall and slender. Her feminine features revealed a hint of heroism, giving her a unique sense of beauty. Seeing the Qilin relic that was humming non-stop, the short-haired woman's eyes were filled with surprise and astonishment. Why would the relic break out of the Qilin? Only of the Qilin's most powerful descendant appeared? Of the Qilin king? He Linlin didn't expect that the Qilin relic, which only the black Qilin royal family could sense, would be found by a human. Furthermore, from the way the black Qilin relic was floating in the air and emitting light, it was clear that it had sensed the presence of this human. How could this be? She was the black Qilin saintess. Why would the black Qilin relic summon a stranger? What's your name? This time, the short-haired girl did not continue to fight with Yi Baiming. She also realized that this young man was very powerful. He was more than 10 times stronger than the average human. Even if they continued to fight, it would be difficult to determine the winner. The people from the other clans must have entered their respective beast kings' tombs. She had to get the Saraira as soon as possible. Before you ask for someone else's name, you should tell them your name first. Or is it that the dignified beast clan of the 8 Wastelands doesn't dare to show their names to others? Yi Baiming also admired this young girl. He Linlin. When the young girl spat out her name, her expression was somewhat bashful. There were not many people in this world who knew her name. Yi Baiming of Zhou State. Yi Baiming and the girl looked at each other. The two of them looked at each other as if they were rivals. The short-haired girl smiled, and a rare touch of charm appeared on her face that was full of heroic spirit. There was a strange look in her light gray eyes. Yi Baiming, I like you very much. Be my man. The girl of the Beast clan confessed her feelings in a natural and unrestrained manner. In the Bakra orcs there was no real distinction between men and women. He Linlin's expression of goodwill toward men was still the same as that of the Beast clan. If she liked someone, she would confess directly. He Linlin believed that with her appearance and strength, this strong human male would not reject her. I'm sorry, but I refuse. Yi Baiming did not show any expression after hearing this sudden confession. He refused not because he disliked this girl. On the contrary, he did not dislike this girl in front of him. He did not know why, but he felt a sense of closeness to this girl. How dare you refuse me? He Linlin was angry as if she had been offended. She had lived for 18 years, but this was the first time she felt her heart moved by a man. Moreover, she was certain that this man was not an ordinary human. She could feel a noble aura from him that was not inferior to the Black Qilin royal clan. There is nothing in this world that I, Yi Baiming, do not dare to do. Sorry, girl. Even if this relic belongs to the Qilin clan, I want it. Therefore I want it. Yi Baiming did not allow for an explanation. He clenched his 5 fingers and the Black Qilin relic in the air trembled and was sucked over by a strong force. Let go. He Linlin would not let this go. She waved her hand and the Qilin fighting energy emitted from her body wrapped around the Black Qilin relic like a spider web. The two of them were evenly matched and could not be defeated. Their fighting energy was like a tug of war. The Qilin relic was left and right, and neither of them could snatch it. After a full half hour, neither of them managed to snatch the relic. Both of them understood that they were opponents that they had never met in their lives. At this moment, Yi Baiming's expression changed slightly, and a trace of anxiety appeared between his eyebrows. He Linlin noticed the change in his expression. Although she had only met Yi Baiming twice, He Linlin was certain that this man in front of her had extraordinary skills and temperament. Rather than saying that he was arrogant, it was better to say that he was cold-hearted. Such a person should only have eyes for himself. Who was it that made his expression change so drastically? I will leave the Qilin relic in your care for the time being. Yi Baiming suddenly withdrew his hand and gave up on the Qilin relic. His figure flashed and disappeared. After losing the balance between the two forces, the Qilin relic was taken into He Linlin's bag. The ice-cold black jade relic lay in He Linlin's hand, but there was not the slightest bit of joy on her face. She stared blankly in the direction that the man called Yi Baiming disappeared with a complicated expression in her eyes. Could it be that to him, there was something more important than the Qilin relic? This man came and went like the wind. She could not understand his temperament at all. However, it was also because of this that He Linlin was even more curious about him. Yi Baiming, only I am worthy of you in this world. You are mine. He Linlin held the Qilin relic and followed closely behind Yi Baiming. Chapter 752. Yun Sheng dodged awkwardly and avoided an attack from her companions. The celestial fox people's illusions were indeed powerful. The two controlled magicians attacked Yun Sheng as if they had gone mad. Yun Sheng had to dodge the attacks from her companions and face the attacks from 5 to 6 celestial fox priests. She was flustered. Chi behind her. A wind blade brushed past without warning and cut Yun Sheng's arm. Blood immediately gushed out. Yun Sheng's black eyes also revealed a rare solemn expression. She subconsciously touched her beast language ring and was about to summon. A figure suddenly appeared in front of Yun Sheng. With a wave of his sleeve, he protected her and the magic scepter in his arms. The person's movements were too fast. Yun Sheng could not react in time. She was careless and knocked into the person's chest. The tip of her nose hurt. Under her nose, she smelled a pleasant and familiar scent. Yun Sheng subconsciously blurted out, "Night Fox, why are you here? What the hell are you doing? Why are you fighting with the celestial fox people?" Yi Baiming narrowed his eyes. Yi Baiming glanced at Yun Sheng, who was in a sorry state. He was angry but also a little distressed. His little wild cat was being bullied. When Yi Baiming was fighting fiercely with He Linlin just now, the crimson unicorn he carried on his body suddenly let out a low warning sound. His little wild cat was in danger. Without much hesitation, Yi Baiming decisively abandoned the Qilin relic. His black clothes were like the night. His handsome face was covered with frosty coldness and evilness. The moment Yi Baiming appeared, he protected Yun Sheng in his arms. This is a little complicated to explain. Let's talk about it another day. Yun Sheng was embarrassed. She did not want Yi Baiming to see her in such a sorry state. She admitted that at that moment, Yi Baiming's name appeared in her mind for a second. He actually appeared. Yun Sheng did not realize that the moment Yi Baiming appeared, she heaved a sigh of relief. She thought about it again. That's not right. Why did he appear here? She should be the one asking him this question. She followed the second elder to participate in the trial. It was perfectly justifiable for her to appear in the Duqian Blood Beast world. It was wrong for Night Fox to appear here. But now was not the time to discuss this. Yi Baiming raised his hand and looked at Yun Sheng's wound lovingly. His gaze was enough to drown an ocean. Retracting his gaze and looking up, Yi Baiming seemed to have changed into a different person. His handsome and almost perfect face was covered with a layer of ruthlessness. Yun Sheng was stunned. If not for the fact that she was still in trouble, Yun Sheng really wanted to reach out and scratch Yi Baiming's foxy face to see if it was real. How could he change his appearance like a magic trick? You guys, who did it just now? His gaze was cold and like an icicle. It shot towards Hu Bo and the group of celestial fox people behind him. It was me. Hu Linglong threw a coquettish glance at Yi Baiming. Do you want your hand or your life? Hu Linglong's coquettish glance had no effect on Yi Baiming. Who dared to touch his woman? You. What an arrogant brat. Do you think you can defeat us? I'll let you see my pink skull formation. Hu Bo glared at him. This man was not bad looking, but his brain was not good. He dared to challenge the celestial fox people single-handedly. Didn't he see that there were many celestial fox people's priests behind her? Although Hu Linglong could not see the depth of this man's cultivation, his cultivation was obviously much higher than that female sorcerer's. Moreover, he was flying in the air and his dookie wings had already turned invisible. Judging from his strength, he was at least a martial grand emperor. He was already a martial grand emperor at such a young age. In terms of monstrous talent, perhaps only a few people from the Upper Beast clan could compare to him. Hu Linglong did not dare to let her guard down. At Hu Bo's command, the celestial fox people's priests beside her began to chant together. 6 puffs of pink smoke spurted out from the celestial fox witchcraft beast master's magic scepter. The skeletons chuckled and surrounded Yi Baiming. The pink smoke gradually took the shape of a human. A burst of ecstasy rang out. The celestial fox people's naked women stroked their hair coquettishly and fawned over Yi Baiming, making one's face turn red and his heart beat faster. Countless treasures, magic tools, rare treasures, yellow robes, and all the beautiful dreams in the world appeared one by one in front of Yi Baiming's eyes. Power, desire, money, beautiful women, all the greediest desires of people were in this pink skull formation. How dare you show off your insignificant skills? Yi Baiming's gray eyes flashed with killing intent. Break! He roared and punched the air with both fists. Countless shadows of fists flew out. Behind Hu Bo, the 6 celestial fox people's priests felt as if their chests had been hit hard. They all vomited a mouthful of blood and the magic scepters in their hands shattered. How is this possible? Hu Yinying opened her mouth in disbelief. Her face changed slightly and she retreated step by step. This man was completely immune to the pink skull formation. It was too ridiculous. In one day, there were 2 celestial fox people who were immune to illusions. Who were these 2 people? You don't come over. Hu Bo saw the man closing in on her step by step and felt a chill in her heart. This man, who was like the god of war, was incomparably cruel. He would not have the slightest bit of pity for the fairer sex. It's you. At this time, the other descendants of the Bakra orcs had already come out of the Duqian blood seal. The first to rush back were Zi Lu and He Linlin. Then Qingya, Rita and the others rushed back. He Linlin saw Yi Baiming, while Lu saw the injured Yun Sheng. The moment Lu saw Yun Sheng, his heart skipped a beat. His gaze involuntarily fell on Yun Sheng's injuries. However, when he saw Yun Sheng's pale face and bloodstains on her body, Lu felt a sharp pain in his heart and anger rose abruptly. Yun Sheng was facing the descendants of the Bakra orcs. She also saw Lu. Humans. Only the 2 of them dared to barge in here. How arrogant. A few Bakra orcs' young men and women looked curiously at Yi Baiming and Yun Sheng, who was in his arms. Seeing Yi Baiming carrying Yun Sheng in such a domineering manner, Lu could not help but feel sour in his stomach. However, at the same time he was also worried for Yun Sheng. How did she barge in here? He Linlin, on the other hand, looked at Yi Baiming. She did not expect that she would meet Yi Baiming again so soon. However, she quickly noticed that Yun Sheng was in Yi Baiming's arms. Yun Sheng's face, which was even more beautiful than the celestial fox people, and her special temperament made He Linlin take a few more glances at her. Seeing so many descendants of the Bakra orcs, Yi Baiming also became alert. He did not know where this group of young men and women came from. Each of them had strong fighting energy and magic power. He alone was enough to escape. However, now that Yun Sheng was injured, if this group of people surrounded him, it would be hard to say. You left just now because of her? He Linlin stared angrily at Yi Baiming and Yun Sheng in his arms. Chapter 753. He actually gave up such an important Qilin relic for a woman? He Linlin couldn't believe it. She didn't expect that the incomparably cold Yi Baiming would give up the Qilin relic that was about to be in his hands just for a woman. Linlin, do you know this man? Seeing that everyone came back, Hu Linglong knew that her life was not in danger and was secretly delighted. She hurriedly hid behind He Linlin, seeking protection. Yun Sheng also looked at He Linlin strangely. This short-haired woman who suddenly appeared seemed to be very familiar with Yi Baiming. At the thought of this, Yun Sheng felt a little uncomfortable in her heart. Her hand was suddenly caught. Yi Baiming's palm covered her hand. His slender fingers scratched her palm. It seemed like he was explaining but also seemed like he was comforting her. Yun Shang understood Yi Baiming's meaning. He was telling her not to think too much. He and that woman had nothing to do with each other. Yun Shang's face turned red. She muttered, "Who cares about your relationship with that woman?" This was obviously a small action between lovers, but in the eyes of others it had a different meaning. It was simply ignoring them and openly flirting. Especially in the eyes of He Linlin and Lu, it was especially dazzling. Lu's jealousy grew even more intense. He could also see that this man who looked like an emperor of the dark night had an unusual relationship with Yun Shang. This man actually made Yun Shang reveal a little woman's appearance. There was no trace of the calmness and viciousness from earlier in the cave. It was said that women were fickle. It turned out that a vicious woman could also be so timid and lovable. However, even though he knew that Yun Shang's heart might belong to someone else, there was a different kind of charm between her brows at this moment, which made Lu's heart beat. He was in a bad mood. He wanted nothing more than to kick Yi Baiming away and snatch Yun Shang over so that he could pamper her. "Yi Baiming, let me ask you. Did you reject me because of this woman?" This was the first time He Linlin had been ignored like this. She was so angry that her face turned red as she glared at him. "I'm asking you a question." Yun Shang wanted to shake off Yi Baiming's hand, but he held it firmly and refused to let go. Yun Shang was obviously not used to such a public display of affection. Because of this strange atmosphere, the originally dangerous situation became even more strange. "I'll ask you one more time. Did you give up the Qilin relic for this woman?" He Linlin asked through gritted teeth. "Yes." Yi Baiming raised his eyebrows. "How is she better than me?" He Linlin pressed on step by step. She raised her head proudly. "Yo, this woman is really shameless. She failed to confess in public and even attacked him in public." Yun Shang glared at He Linlin. Okay, that woman's chest was bigger than hers and she was also stronger than her. But that was also because she was still young. Let's wait for another 2 years and see how that woman would show off. No. Wait, why is she speaking like a resentful woman? Yun Shang suddenly thought of something. Damn Fox, it's all his fault. He was born with a flirtatious face. First there was Chan Liener, and now there's a Tsundra girl. Yun Shang, this guy also didn't realize that when it came to romantic encounters, her romantic encounter came earlier. At this moment, Lu was still staring at Yun Shang, and Yi Baiming who seemed to be intimate. If it weren't for the fact that there were other Bakra orcs present, Lu would have sharpened his knife and chopped off Yi Baiming's hand. Shang was a little dissatisfied. The small hand that was being held by Yi Baiming pinched Yi Baiming's palm in revenge. Yi Baiming narrowed his eyes. He could vaguely feel Yun Shang's jealousy. He wasn't angry. Instead, he was a little happy. This little wild cat was finally a little enlightened. Since that was the case, he should seize the opportunity and make use of He Linlin. Yi Baiming raised his eyebrows and smiled instantly. "In my eyes, she's better than you in every aspect. If she wasn't strong, he could protect her. If she was stunted, he would be happy to teach her hands-on." Yi Baiming was extremely handsome. When he smiled, it was incomparably dazzling. It made the few women present feel as if they were hit by an electric current. "Yi Baiming, you will regret it. Your purpose of entering the Qilin tomb is to become stronger. Be my man and I can make you the strongest." He Linlin blurted out without blushing. "What? He Linlin, are you crazy? He's a human." Qinya was flustered and exasperated. He Linlin must be crazy. She actually went against the tribe's rules and expressed goodwill to a human man. He Linlin, as the saintess of the upper beast tribe among the Bakra orcs, had always been arrogant. However, she was beautiful and had good skills. Many people from the 8 Wastelands Beast clan pursued her. Qinya had pursued her before but was coldly rejected by her. At that time, He Linlin said that only a man who defeated her could marry her. He didn't expect that she would express goodwill to a strange human man. What rules? I He Linlin am the rule. He is strong enough and qualified to be my man. He Linlin raised her head confidently. Hearing this, Green's mind became active. If what He Linlin said was true, then could he also, "You want me to be your man? You'll have to ask if my woman agrees to it first." Yi Biming avoided the main point and deliberately squeezed Yunsheng's hand hard again. The latter rolled her eyes. This guy was trying to frame her again. Your woman. He Linlin followed Yi Biming's gaze and fell on Yunsheng. Yunsheng didn't even think. I have no objections. You can take this man if you want. As soon as the words left her mouth, Yunsheng regretted it. The smile on Yi Biming's lips faded bit by bit. His gray eyes were dark and gloomy as if they were covered by dark clouds. It seems that your woman doesn't care much about you. He Linlin could see that Yunsheng and Yi Biming were not lovers. However, what was the special atmosphere between the two of them? There was a very special aura between Yunsheng and Yi Biming. This aura might not be the aura between lovers, but it was very difficult for others to integrate into that aura. After hearing Yunsheng's words, the smile on Green's face deepened. His canine teeth were also exposed happily. The man in black had a very strong aura. However, it seemed that Yunsheng didn't like him. Therefore, he still had a chance. Hey Linlin, there's no need to talk to him. These two people must know some secret since they came here. Kill them. Rita snorted and took the lead to rush forward. The Beaming tribe was famous for their strength and speed among the Bakra orcs. Rita gathered her fighting spirit and rushed forward. However, she missed. Yi Biming's figure flashed and disappeared with Yunsheng. What's going on? Where did they go? Rita was confused. That man is not only a warrior but also a magician. His magic cultivation is not low. He should have used some kind of magic. He Linlin was more concerned about Yi Biming. They immediately split up and searched for Yi Biming and Yunsheng's whereabouts. Chapter 754. Yi Biming, you are so overbearing. Don't you know that a melon picked by force is not sweet? Yunsheng had wanted to explain, but Yi Biming's rude tone made her feel depressed. Yunsheng, this prince has enough patience with you. Don't challenge this prince's limits again and again. This prince only knows that a melon picked by force will not be sweet until it is tried. Yi Biming's face darkened. His gaze was gloomy as it paused on Yunsheng's chest. His hand still clearly remembered her sweetness. One day, he would pluck out all the claws and fangs of this lovable and headache-inducing little wild cat. He would make her happy under his body and obediently become his woman. Yunsheng did not dare to make a sound after being glared at by him. She also felt that after entering the Dutian bloodbeast world, Yi Biming was more aggressive than usual. If she really angered him, it would be terrible if he executed her on the spot. For safety's sake, it was better to change the topic. Why didn't you have any reaction to the pink skull formation? Yunsheng's mind was in a mess. She could only force herself to change the topic. Yunsheng had long suspected why Yi Biming was not affected by Hu Linglong's pink skull formation. She was not affected because she was a descendant of Celestial Fox. But why was Yi Biming completely immune? This prince does not like those women. Yi Biming smiled wickedly. If it was you, this prince might have fallen for it. Even though she knew that the other party was up to no good, Yunsheng still could not stop her eyes from reddening. Especially when Yi Biming glanced at her neck that was full of hickeys as he spoke. Ahem, we seem to have entered a strange boundary. Why didn't you run away just now? Yunsheng blushed and cursed Yi Biming for being shameless in her heart. She decided to avoid the important and dwell on the trivial. She decided to leave this place first. In any case, from now on, whenever she saw Yi Biming, she would take a detour. After this experience, Yunsheng felt that Yi Biming had changed from a fox to a big bad wolf. She was the pitiful little Red Riding Hood, facing the danger of being eaten at any time. We should be in a certain area of the Duqian bloodstains, or perhaps a tomb of the Beast Kings. Yi Biming also looked around with a serious expression. He could feel that this was a special enchantment. The magic fluctuations here were very similar to the Qilin tomb he had broken into earlier. At this time, the whole Dutian bloodstains was divided into two areas. One was the outer area of the Dutian bloodstains, and the other was the middle area of the Dutian bloodstains and the Dutian bloodstains. The middle area of the Dutian bloodstains had already been occupied by the descendants of the Ba Huang tribe. Relatively speaking, the safer area was the Dutian bloodstains. Just now, Yi Biming had fled with Yunsheng in a moment of panic. They did not know which tomb of the Duqian bloodstains they had entered. Now that the two of them had calmed down, Yunsheng also began to pay attention to her surroundings. She found that under her feet was an area similar to a magic seal. This is the core area of the Duqian bloodstains? The Duqian bloodstains? Yunsheng then realized that she had accidentally entered the area that the second elder had strictly prohibited from entering. The Duqian bloodstains are divided into 8 areas, which are the 8 tombs of the Bakra orcs. They contain the bones of the 8 chiefs of the Bakra orcs. I just don't know which area we have entered, and Yi Baiming searched around for a while and frowned. What's wrong? Yunsheng realized that something was wrong. Someone has set up a restriction here. When Yi Baiming had entered, there was no such restriction. But just now he found that there was an additional layer of powerful magic around them. Perhaps his intrusion had caused the restriction of the Beast King's tomb to activate on its own. At this time, the 8 descendants of the Bakra orcs had arrived at the outer area of the Duqian bloodstains. They went to the south. If I'm not wrong, that's where the Celestial Fox tomb is located. He Linlin could feel the fluctuation of Yi Baiming's fighting energy. Then we can't enter. Hu Linglong, you go in. The others let Hu Linglong enter. Although the 8 barren tribes were one, places like the tombs of the chiefs had always been sacred places for each tribe. Those who were not from the tribe or the chiefs of other tribes were not allowed to enter. Otherwise, they could trigger the traps or magic seals in the Beast King tomb. Among all of them, only Hu Linglong was from the Celestial Fox tribe. This time, she represented the Celestial Fox people's saintess, so she was the most suitable person to enter. Hearing this, Hu Linglong's expression changed slightly. But under the watchful eyes of so many people, she could not refuse. She could only hesitate and walk towards the Celestial Fox bloodstains. But she had only taken a few steps and was about to enter the Celestial Fox bloodstains when she was pushed far away by an elastic force. What's going on? He Linlin and the others immediately walked forward. Green looked at it and said curiously, is this a seal? Someone must have found the Celestial Fox relic and opened the seal on the Celestial Fox tomb. The chiefs of the 8 barren tribes were ancient powerhouses. Although they had been dead for many years, part of their magic power was still preserved in the Duqian bloodstains. The 8 barren relic, which represented most of their power, was still sealed in the Duqian bloodstains. Only when a suitable person entered would the relic be unearthed. Once the relic was unearthed, in order to prevent others from coveting it, the relic itself would form a powerful seal. Only those who were suitable for the relic could enter the seal. Previously, He Linlin and Yi Baiming had entered the Qilin tomb and activated the Qilin relic. At that time, the Qilin tomb was also surrounded by a seal that prevented others from entering. Only after the Saraira was collected would that layer of restriction be opened. How is that possible? Hu Linglong hasn't even entered yet. Why would the Celestial Fox tomb automatically open the seal? When the others heard the news, they were all curious. They were all here for the relic. Just now, the other members of the Bakra orcs had already entered the corresponding Celestial Fox tomb and obtained their clan's relic. Only Hu Linglong had not entered the Celestial Fox tomb with the excuse of looking after the hostages. But now, she was rejected by the Celestial Fox tomb. Haha, needless to say, it must be some people who are not qualified to enter the Celestial Fox tomb. Rita saw this and sneered at the side. Rita, what right do you have to criticize me? Everyone has only obtained the relic and not the inheritance of the relic. What qualifications do you have? I'm 80% sure that the two of them barged in recklessly. The Celestial Fox people was furious and sealed the Celestial Fox tomb to trap them inside. Hu Linglong was furious. Hu Linglong was actually muttering in her heart. She had come to the Duqian bloodstains this time as an imposter. She had thought that after obtaining the Celestial Fox relic, she would be able to replace her useless cousin and become the real Celestial Fox saintess when she returned to her clan. When they heard the word trap, Green and He Linlin's expressions turned ugly. The clan leader of the Heavenly Fox clan, who went first, was a magic genius among the beast clans of the 8 wastelands who was proficient in all kinds of magic formations and all kinds of voodoo spells. The restrictive spell of the Heavenly Fox tomb was more difficult to break than the other beast tombs. If the seal was not broken, Yunsheng and Yi Baiming might really be trapped inside. Chapter 755. Hu Linglong was dreaming. She didn't know that she couldn't even break through the restrictions of the Celestial Fox Tomb. That damned Celestial Fox people's chief. She had been dead for so many years, yet she still wanted to get in her way. However, Hu Linglong wasn't particularly worried. After all, the Celestial Fox Sarira could only be inherited by someone with the bloodline of Celestial Fox. The two people inside could only wait for death. Once the restrictions were removed, she could enter the Celestial Fox Tomb. At that time, the Celestial Fox Sarira would still be hers. Yun Shang and Yi Baiming didn't know that they were in the tomb of the Celestial Fox people's chief. The tomb of Celestial Fox. The two searched for a long time but still couldn't find any way out. They also couldn't figure out where this area was. However, one thing was for sure. The restrictions in this tomb were very powerful. Yi Baiming tried a few times. No matter if he used magic or fighting aura, he couldn't break through the restrictions. In an instant, Yun Shang and he were like turtles in a jar. Why did you suddenly appear in the Duqian Blood Beast world? Yun Shang saw that Yi Baiming had mentioned the Qilin tomb. It seemed that he had already been to one of the tombs. I'm here to look for blood crystals. My mentor told me that there are blood crystals in the 8 Baron tomb that can improve one's Dharma soul and physique. I've already been to the Black Qilin tomb. That's where I met He Linlin. This tomb is a little strange. Yi Baiming looked around. He found that the Celestial Fox tomb was a little different from the Qilin tomb. According to Ghost Prison's mentor, there should be blood crystals in the Beast King tomb. However, there was nothing in this tomb. The Qilin tomb was majestic. It was like the tomb of an emperor. Logically speaking, the other tombs of the Bakra orcs should be the same. However, in this unknown tomb of the Beast King, it was a flat land, and the space was very spacious. Aside from the strange magic array on the ground, there was nothing else. There were no blood crystals, nor were there any signs indicating the location of the Beast King's remains. Then did you find the Qilin blood crystal? Yun Shang also knew that Yi Baiming was very powerful now. From what He Linlin said, Yi Baiming must have found something more powerful than the blood crystal. However, at that time she was in trouble. Yi Baiming sensed it and came to save her. He was originally someone who pursued the path of the strongest. As long as he could obtain the Qilin relic, he would be able to raise his cultivation to the next level. However, for her sake, Yun Shang's heart was sour and sweet. She didn't know what to feel. Don't worry, the blood crystal has been found. Yi Baiming did not want Yun Shang to think too much. Even without the Qilin relic, he could still become a supreme expert. The two of them walked in the unfamiliar tomb of the Beast King, but they still did not find any clues. Are we going to be trapped here until we die? Yun Shang was a little discouraged. She did not expect to die in a place like this. No, I won't let you die. Yi Baiming looked at the restriction again. He unconsciously clenched his fists. If it really came down to it, he was afraid that he would use Beast Blood Frenzy to force open that layer of restriction. However, being in the Duqian blood mark with such a strong murderous aura, Yi Baiming could not guarantee what he would look like after the Beast Blood Frenzy. If that happened, it might scare little Wildcat. He could not let her see his true face for the time being. As Yi Baiming spoke, Yun Shang suddenly exclaimed. She stepped on something. There was a flash of light, and Yun Shang was immersed in the light. Yun Shang. Yi Baiming hurriedly pulled her, but it was too late. Yun Shang disappeared in the light. Yun Shang only felt that she was falling from the sky, falling down in an instant. She could hear Yi Baiming's voice, but soon Yi Baiming's shouts disappeared. A graveyard appeared in front of her. When she saw the graveyard, Yun Shang could not help but praise it. Earlier, she and Yi Baiming had been wondering why there was no graveyard of the Beast King in the tomb of the Beast King. It turned out that it was not that there was no graveyard, but that the location of the graveyard had been concealed by a special magic array. It was a dome-shaped white graveyard made of white marble. Beside the graveyard was a small pond. In the pond there was a plain white pond lotus. Yun Shang walked to the front of the unknown graveyard. There were a few simple and unadorned words at the entrance of the graveyard. Yun Shang did not recognize these words, but she was sure that these were not the words of any country in the boundless continent. Puffed Egg, my dear master. Puffed Egg recognizes these words. In the beast language ring, the Puffed Egg became active again. Yun Shang remembered that the puffed egg was left to her by her mother. Perhaps it knew some words of the Bakra orcs. The puffed egg flapped its wings and jumped to the front of the graveyard. It took a look and recognized the 3 words. Celestial Fox Graveyard. Master, this is the graveyard of the greatest sorcerer of the Celestial Fox people in the 8 barren tribes. Yun Shang could not help but sigh. She did not expect that she would accidentally enter the graveyard of the Celestial Fox Graveyard. However, why would this Celestial Fox Graveyard use a magic array to conceal the Celestial Fox Graveyard? It seemed that if she wanted to know the secrets of the Celestial Fox Graveyard, she would have to go deep into the Celestial Fox Graveyard. She walked to the graveyard stone door and pushed it with her hand. No matter how much strength she used, the stone door would not open. Master, drip your blood into the lotus pond at the side. Only the descendants of the Celestial Fox Graveyard can enter a place like the Celestial Fox Graveyard. The puffed egg reminded Yun Shang. Yun Shang walked to the lotus pond and cut her finger. When her blood dripped into the lotus pond, the originally calm lotus pond began to bubble. The half-opened lotuses in the pond suddenly bloomed. The petals of the white lotus pond were also dyed red, looking exceptionally enchanting. The moment the lotus pond bloomed, the originally silent stone door made a creaking sound and opened spontaneously. Yun Shang walked into the graveyard. As soon as Yun Shang stepped in, the stone door closed automatically. Outside the graveyard, the lotus pond, which looked as if it had been tempered by blood, returned to its original state. It was white and clear, as if no one had ever been here. Yun Shang hesitated, then knelt down and kowtowed 3 times to the Celestial Fox Graveyard. Ancestor Celestial Fox Graveyard, Yun Shang also has your blood flowing in her veins. Today she was besieged by enemies, so she accidentally entered your graveyard. Yun Shang is trapped here and needs to find an exit as soon as possible. If I disturb your peace, please forgive me. Yun Shang did not enter rashly. After confirming that there was no poisonous gas in the graveyard, she walked in with the puffed egg. As soon as she entered the graveyard, Yun Shang was stunned. It was another empty room. Other than some bones on the ground, there was nothing else. Yun Shang was a little surprised. After taking a closer look, she realized that this room was a little special. Chapter 756. It was an ordinary house with 4 walls and 1 door. This spacious stone house also had 4 walls, but there were 4 doors. The doors were ordinary stone doors. Other than the west door that Yun Shang had entered through, the other 3 doors were the east, south, and north doors. The 3 stone doors were tightly shut and looked like they had not been opened for a long time. Pop, master, these doors were left behind by the Celestial Fox people. There is a way out behind one of the doors, but if you want to find the way out, you have to open all the stone doors. Puffed eggs circled around the doors. As for the skeletons, they must have been the same as Yun Shang, who had entered the Celestial Fox tomb by chance. It looked like this Celestial Fox ancestor was much trickier than the other beast kings. It was not easy to get out of here. Yun Shang smiled bitterly. Those skeletons must have been left behind by the people who had not opened all 3 doors and were unable to leave the Celestial Fox tomb. Yun Shang examined the skeletons and the magic scepter at the side. To her surprise, she discovered that some of the skeletons had reached the level of a sanctuary-level guardian king. Most of them were around the level of a sky sorcerer. Even these people were trapped here. She did not know what kind of monsters would appear behind the 3 doors. Yun Shang looked at the hourglass in her beast language ring. It had been more than a day and a night since she had entered the central area of the Duqian blood beast world. A total of 16 hours. She still had some antidote pills, a bag of water, and some blood-toothed crocodile meat in her ring. In total, she could only hold on for about 3 more days. No matter what, she had to give it a try. The method to open the stone door was similar to the first door. She just had to smear blood on the stone door. Yun Shang thought for a while and chose the door with the least skeletons, which was the south door. The blood dripped onto the stone door, and was quickly absorbed by the stone door that had been thirsty for countless years. The moment the stone door opened, then 6 black shadows rushed out from inside. They were a few black tortoise warriors that were over 3 meters tall and made of black basalt. These martial artists had a soul stone embedded in their eyes and their foreheads. They exuded a murderous aura from head to toe. Yunsheng was not too surprised to see these stone monsters. Puffed Egg had also said that the chief of the celestial fox people was a great magician. Moreover, in the Ba Huang tribe, the celestial fox people were proficient in witchcraft and medicine. As the leader of the celestial fox people, there might be a large number of strange creatures in the tomb. Black tortoise warriors were a special invention of the celestial fox people. Although they were not alive, they had the same 5 senses as humans. Other than being unable to feel pain and having a tough body, they could keenly detect enemies and launch attacks. High-level Xian martial warriors could even unleash certain battle techniques. These martial artists were even stronger than the devil warriors that Yi Baiming had given to Yunsheng earlier. Without waiting for Yunsheng to think, the black tortoise warrior attacked Yunsheng. The moment the stone door opened, the black tortoise warrior sensed that someone had broken into the tomb. The soul stones on their foreheads flashed. They raised their indestructible iron fists and punched towards Yunsheng. Yunsheng relied on her superior movements and dodged the attack. However, the black tortoise warrior's strong and fierce fist wind still scraped past Yunsheng's cheek, causing her cheeks to hurt. As if they knew that their opponent was agile, the 6 black tortoise warriors changed their strategy. They surrounded Yunsheng and punched her several times. They reacted quickly and punched one after another. In an instant, there were punches flying around Yunsheng. If she was not careful, Yunsheng would be hit. Yunsheng leaped up and aimed the magic scepter in her hand at one of the black tortoise warriors. She shot out a fiery explosion. Boom! The fiery explosion hit the black tortoise warrior's body. However, the raging flames had no effect on these monsters made of stone. Yunsheng's attack did not hit, but she lost the initiative. Although the black tortoise warriors had keen senses, they were not fast. Their slow reactions were their fatal weakness. Yunsheng swept her long leg and used the force to push back a few steps. After escaping the encirclement, Yunsheng chanted. Black thorns exploded on the ground. The black tortoise warrior staggered, and his heavy body crashed to the ground. Yunsheng took advantage of the momentum to fly up, and the magic scepter in her hand shot out streaks of flame explosion. The fiery explosion shattered the soul stones on the foreheads of the black tortoise warriors. Once the soul stones exploded, the black tortoise warriors lost their ability to move and became dead stones. Huff huff, Yunsheng panted heavily. She was injured earlier and had not recovered from her injuries. After this ordeal, she was drenched in sweat and was extremely tired. Yunsheng could use her summoning beasts, but she thought that she didn't know what kind of perverted opponents were hiding behind the 2 doors. It was better to save her summoning beasts for a life-saving situation. Clatter clatter. Just when Yunsheng thought that she could rest for a while, the black tortoise warriors started moving again. The soul stones on their foreheads that had been shattered were restored to their original state. Damn, they can't be so crazy. They are going to torture us to death. Yunsheng stomped her foot, but in the next moment, Yunsheng heaved a sigh of relief. After the black tortoise warriors recovered, they did not attack again. They waited quietly beside the stone door. The stone door that was originally closed was now open. Hesitating, Yunsheng walked through the south door. Her eyes lit up. Behind the south door was a secret room that was about 10 square meters in size. In the secret room, there were all kinds of transparent crystals of different sizes and colors. Celestial fox blood crystals. Legend had it that they were the best magical crystals that contained a large portion of the celestial fox people's powers. There were many white blood crystals. Roughly counting, there were hundreds of them. Yunsheng casually picked up a piece and held it in her hand. A strong magical power was transmitted from the crystal. Such pure blood crystals. Yunsheng was shocked. Blood crystals were different from soul stones. The magical power in the soul stones of magical beasts mostly contained the violent aura of magical beasts, so it was difficult to absorb. But the Beast King blood crystals were different. They were gentler and the magical power they contained was purer. The owner of this unknown tomb was once the chief of one of the 8 barren tribes. He must have been an outstanding magician. That was why its tomb was able to preserve so many blood crystals even after 2 years. Yunsheng's heart skipped a beat. She took out the soul-cleansing pill and immediately sat down cross-legged. Holding a magical crystal in each hand, She began to meditate. The magical power in the white blood crystals seeped into Yunshang's body bit by bit. This feeling was unprecedented. The magical power flowed into Yunshang's body like a trickle. Her 8 extraordinary meridians seemed to have been widened and cleared in an instant. About 2 to 3 hours later. Ding! A melodious sound rang out. Yunshang felt her body lighten. After a while, Yunshang slowly breathed in and out and opened her eyes. I finally broke through to become a sky magician. The volcano erupted. I'm going to sleep. With the support of tickets, rewards, and subscriptions, if there's a surprise tomorrow morning, I might even add more. Good night, everyone. Chapter 757. After breaking through to become a sky sorcerer, Yunshang concentrated part of her magical power on her back, and a pair of magical wings appeared on her back. Finally, I don't have to fly with Puffed Egg's ugly wings anymore. Yunshang sighed. Her words caused the Puffed Egg's strong dissatisfaction. Becoming a sky sorcerer was a threshold for a sorcerer on the mainland. After becoming a sky sorcerer, a sorcerer would be able to use magic more freely, and even touch the threshold of profound magic. After Yunshang broke through, she realized that her sensitivity towards magical elements had greatly increased. Yunshang scanned her surroundings again and realized that there were also many skeletons in this stone chamber. Some of them had even died beside the magical crystals. Although magic crystals were good, one could not be too greedy. Those who had successfully defeated the Black Tortoise warriors had probably absorbed too many magic crystals in one go after entering the stone room due to their greed. Their bodies had exploded and they had died in the surroundings. She looked around and looked at the blood crystals. She could not digest so many Beast King blood crystals alone. It would be a waste if she just left them here. Yunshang thought of her magical beasts. After all, these blood crystals were Beast King blood crystals and could be used by her magical beasts. About an hour passed just like that. The blood crystals in the tomb of the unknown Beast King had been swept clean by Yunshang and her little magical beasts. Yunshang had a few jade boxes with her and collected 10 of the best quality blood crystals. The rest were all absorbed by her magical beasts. Among them, the Puffed Egg absorbed the most blood crystals. Just the Puffed Egg alone had absorbed 20 blood crystals. Moreover, it seemed that the Puffed Egg liked the blood crystals very much. If Yunshang had not stopped it, it would have continued to absorb the blood crystals. After absorbing the blood crystals, the rest of the demonic beasts experienced different levels of advancement. Among the magical beasts Yunshang currently possessed from low to high, they were the 9th grade Xiaohei, the low-level commander level 100-legged ant general, the mid-level commander level night demon queen, the high-level commander level elven little queen, and the Puffed Egg of unknown grade. Apart from Bobo, the other magical beasts had all advanced. The 100-legged ant general had advanced to mid-level commander, while the night demon queen had also broken through to high-level commander. However, the ones who changed the most were the little elven queen and Xiaohei. Ever since the little elven queen woke up, she had the appearance of a little lowly. After absorbing 4 celestial fox blood crystals, she had grown up quite a bit. She was now a 13 or 14-year-old girl, and her rank had also increased to the early stage of the king stage. As for Xiaohei, her transformation was even greater. Her body was originally larger than a normal dog, but now she had grown to the size of a calf. From the looks of it, she was actually comparable to the wolf form of Green Fong from the Green Nether Wolf tribe. After collecting all the celestial fox blood crystals, Yunshang walked out of the stone room. The black martial artist warriors walked back into the stone room, and the stone door closed once again. What a pity! It's a pity that I don't know how to control them. Otherwise, I would have really picked up a treasure by having these warriors. Yunshang looked at these black martial artist warriors. For some reason, she felt that the way these black martial artist warriors were controlled was very similar to the way Yi Baiming used to control the demon martial artist warriors. The first door was closed. Yunshang had to break through the second door. According to the number of skeletons, this time Yunshang chose the north door. After the north door opened, Yunshang waited for a moment. However, this time the north door was not like the south door where no monsters came out. Yunshang walked through the north door curiously. Behind the north door was another stone room. However, There were no celestial fox blood crystals or anything else in this stone room. In the middle of the stone room there was a magic scepter. There were 8 magic soul stones inlaid on the magic scepter. This meant that this was the magic scepter of a deity. Yunshang could not help but hold her breath. Although it had been 5,000 years, this magic scepter was still in good condition. Other than a few traces of dried blood on the scepter, the entire scepter was almost completely intact. The 8 soul stones were also in good condition. This was a magic scepter with a perfect configuration. The scepter itself was made from the bones of an unknown 1,000-year-old magical beast. The first soul stone was already a 500-year-old soul stone. As for the 8th soul stone, it looked like a super magical beast soul stone that was tens of thousands of years old. Yunshang could not help but swallow her saliva. For any mage, this was a magic scepter that they dreamed of. This was also the same reaction that all mages had after seeing this magic scepter. Step by step, Yunshang approached the magic scepter. She held the magic scepter in her hand and wanted to pull it out. However, just as Yunshang held the magic scepter, the last soul stone at the top of the magic scepter lit up. A pink smoke spurted out from the soul stone. Yunshang only felt her body stiffen. Beneath her feet, petrified inch by inch. Oh no! This magic scepter was set with an earth element petrification spell. However, as soon as the puffed egg approached, the magic scepter spurted out another pink smoke. In an instant, the puffed egg was petrified into a stone egg. Yunshang was very anxious. In just a moment, her lower body had already turned into stone. The petrification was still spreading. If this continued, she would be completely petrified in another 15 minutes. Sweat trickled down Yunshang's forehead. Pink smoke. Yunshang's heart skipped a beat. She immediately took out the Millennium Ice Zither from the orc language ring. She shook the zither strings. Like flowing water, the sound of the zither flowed out from Yunshang's fingers. Knowing that the power of the magic scepter was not to be underestimated, Yunshang used the last bit of magical power she had left and played the 6th chapter of Dihong. As she played the zither, Yunshang suppressed the fear in her mind and recalled the demon-sealing zither that the dark gold-ranked teacher had modified for her. When the two were combined together, the sound of a war song filled with courage. Amidst the sound of the zither, Yunshang only felt that the fear in her heart from earlier was disappearing bit by bit. Woo woo woo, my dearest master. A terrifying cry sounded in her ears. Yunshang came back to her senses. She realized that the puffed egg was really flying around her nonstop. Her tears flowed like a river. The puffed egg was in the stone room, jumping up and down. Suddenly, it realized that its master was holding the magic scepter, and did not move for a long time. It wanted to pull at her but was repelled by the power of the magic scepter. Just as the puffed egg was crying in fear, Yunshang suddenly took out the ice zither and played the Dihong song. Only then did the terrifying illusion of the magic scepter dissipate. Yunshang looked at her lower body. There was no longer any petrification. Yunshang put down the ice zither and broke out in cold sweat. It turned out that the petrification just now, including the petrification of the puffed egg, was just an illusion released by the magic scepter. Chapter 758. If Yunshang had not recalled the pink smoke at the last moment, which was somewhat similar to Hu Linglong's pink skull array, and suspected that she had fallen into the celestial fox people's illusion spell, she would have really lost her life here. She looked at the magic scepter again, which was still stuck in the ground. This illusion spell was also an illusion spell like Hu Linglong's pink skull array, but it was more terrifying than the pink skull array. The pink skull array would at most make people become muddle-headed and indulge in wine, women, wealth, and arrogance, unable to extricate themselves. However, the petrification spell contained in the magic scepter could scare people to death. After breaking the petrification spell, Yunshang finally saw the situation in the stone room clearly. The whole stone room was actually filled with piles of white bones. Without exception, the white bones were all crawling beside the magic scepter, trying to grab the magic scepter. Human nature was greedy. All the mages who entered this stone room only saw the perfect magic scepter, but they did not expect that this magic scepter could not be controlled at all if one did not have enough strength. The magic scepter itself did not have any power, but the petrification spell it contained was really powerful. These people were all scared to death in the fear of being petrified. Don't be greedy. I'm afraid that only its owner can control this damn magic scepter. I almost died here. This thing is really harmful. Yunsheng sighed and pulled out the magic scepter. Unexpectedly, as soon as she pulled out the magic scepter, a floor tile on the ground loosened. Yunsheng was curious and moved the floor tile with the magic scepter stuck in it away. Under the floor tile there was a hidden compartment, and there was a very old-looking magic scroll in it. Pop Pop Master. It records a voodoo spell of the celestial fox people called the corpse puppet spell. Puffed Egg read the magic scroll. The corpse puppet spell was one of the oldest voodoo spells of the celestial fox people. The conditions to practice the corpse puppet spell were extremely harsh. It had to meet 3 conditions. Firstly, the cultivator must be of the celestial fox people's bloodline. If an outsider were to cultivate it, his soul would definitely explode and he would die. Secondly, the cultivator must have a firm mind, or else it would be easy to be controlled by the shaman puppet and devour the soul. Thirdly, the trainee must be a summoner. Only when all 3 were satisfied could the corpse puppet technique be carried forward. After Yunsheng finished reading, she thought to herself that this corpse puppet technique seemed to be tailor-made for her. She just happened to satisfy all 3 of them. It was as if everything was predestined. Oh, could it be that the patriarch of the celestial fox people who built this tomb of the celestial fox people was also a dark magician? Yunsheng discovered that the corpse puppet technique was indeed extraordinary after reading the magic scroll. It was called corpse puppet, which meant that it was very different from modern hypnotism. However, it was much more powerful than hypnotism. Not only could it control living people, it could also control dead objects. In some cases, it could even instigate a summoner's magical beast to rebel. After comprehending the magic once, Yunsheng decided that she would practice on those black tortoise-level warriors after leaving this place. Yunsheng immediately committed the corpse puppet technique to memory. After storing the magic scroll into the beast's speech ring, Yunsheng also kept the magic scepter. If there were no surprises, this magic scepter should belong to the patriarch of the celestial fox people. Yunsheng wanted to go deeper into the celestial fox tomb. Yunsheng had a premonition that she might need to use this magic scepter on her journey. Yunsheng left the stone room and returned to the south gate first. She used the corpse puppet technique on those black tortoise-level warriors. To her surprise, the corpse puppet technique was effective after just a little bit of use. These black tortoise-level warriors without intelligence immediately became Yunsheng's subordinates. Yunsheng stored all 6 black tortoise-level warriors into the beast's speech ring. She arrived at the last gate, which was the east gate. The gate seems a little different. After opening the 3rd gate, the 4th gate, which was the last gate, changed. A fox appeared on the gate. Although it was only carved on the gate, the carving was lifelike. It had thick fur and a pair of eyes that were as vivid as a human's. This fox was different from the usual fox magical beasts. It walked upright and had a graceful posture, vaguely resembling a young girl. However, what caught Yunsheng's attention the most was that the fox on the gate actually had 6 tails. Yunsheng had long heard that the length of magical beasts, some magical beasts' heads, tails, and even the number of limbs represented their bloodline and strength. For example, Yunsheng's Xiaohei was once a 2-headed dog. Its grade was much higher than the usual canines. There was also the 100-legged ant general. After it absorbed the celestial fox blood crystal, its cultivation level increased greatly. Its original 100-legged body evolved into more than 120 legs. The cubs of the celestial fox people were born with only 1 tail. However, as their cultivation level increased, especially when their Dharma soul became stronger, they would grow a new tail. The secret passage to the tomb of the celestial fox should be behind this gate. Yunsheng was nervous. The last gate opened. Once the gate opened, a heavy smell wafted out. Compared to the other gates, the last gate had been sealed for a longer time. Yunsheng did not know that she was the only person in the 5,000 years since the tomb of the celestial fox was built to enter the last gate. Even some of the pure-blooded celestial fox descendants who came to the tomb of the celestial fox could not survive the petrification illusion behind the 3rd gate. Behind the last gate was another stone room. In the stone room there was a statue. It was a statue of a woman. When one looked at it, they could not help but hold their breath. It was the celestial fox people's statue. It was a woman whose age could not be determined. She had the beauty of a young girl and the dignity of a married woman. Her hair was beautiful, and her figure was well proportioned. Although it was just a statue, the woman's face was beautiful and her beautiful eyes were vivid. It was unknown who had carved this statue. However, it could be seen that the person who carved this statue must have admired this woman very much. He had portrayed the woman's charm very well. Even a layman like Yun Shang could not help but be attracted by this statue when she saw it. However, what surprised Yun Shang the most was that this woman looked very similar to her mother, Hu Jiusheng. In other words, this woman looked very similar to Yun Shang. It was just that she looked slightly older than Yun Shang. However, although the woman was beautiful, there was a trace of sorrow between her brows. She looked to the east as if she was hoping for something. She did not have a magic scepter in her hand. She is the chief of the celestial fox people? Yun Shang saw a stone tablet on the left side of the statue. This is the tomb of the chief of the celestial fox people, Hu Yan. Outsiders are not allowed to trespass into the tomb of the celestial fox. Otherwise, they will be subjected to the 8 wilderness beast blood curse and their souls will be destroyed. The chief of the celestial fox people was called Hu Yan. From her appearance, she might even be related to Yun Shang and Yun Shang's mother, Hu Jiusheng. Chapter 759. Keep looking and see if you can find the exit to the tomb of Celestial Fox. Yun Shang urged Puffed Egg. Yun Shang had been transported in by a magic array, so there must be an exit here. Night Fox was probably going crazy with anxiety. Pop, Master, it says here that if you want to find the exit, you must first find the Celestial Fox Sarira. Puffed Egg's words disappointed Yun Shang. The Celestial Fox Sarira was also where most of the cultivation of the Celestial Fox people's leader, Hu Yan, was located. But in such a large tomb, where should she go to find the Celestial Fox Sarira? Yun Shang looked around, and there seemed to be a voice in her heart telling her to walk to the front of the statue. Yun Shang took out the magic scepter. This originally belonged to Hu Yan, and it was time to return it to its rightful owner. When the magic scepter was returned to Hu Yan, the Celestial Fox people's leader, Hu Yan, changed. A soft light emitted from Hu Yan's forehead, and a raindrop-shaped crystal floated out. The Celestial Fox Sarira was the most precious treasure of the Celestial Fox people. It contained the cultivation of the strongest leader in Celestial Fox history, Hu Yan. Yun Shang did not expect that she would obtain the Celestial Fox Sarira when she entered the tomb rashly. The Celestial Fox Sarira fell into her hand, and Yun Shang felt a burst of warmth. Whether it was the Sarira or the Celestial Fox statue, Yun Shang felt a sense of familiarity. It was as if she had known this woman of the Celestial Fox people for a long time. The Celestial Fox Sarira spun in Yun Shang's hand for a moment, and then suddenly burrowed into Yun Shang's palm and disappeared. Oh no, what's going on? Yun Shang was shocked and quickly looked at her palm. Her hand was fine, but the Sarira had disappeared, as if it had been swallowed by her body. But her body did not feel anything strange. The Sarira had completely disappeared. After the Heavenly Fox relic disappeared, a cracking sound came from under the statue of the Heavenly Fox clan leader, Huemo. Below the originally motionless statue, a black hole that could accommodate one person appeared. A passage. Yun Shang was overjoyed. She quickly jumped into the black hole and left the tomb of the Celestial Fox. At the same time, Yi Baiming was on the verge of madness within the Heavenly Fox burial ground. No matter how hard he searched, he could not find the whereabouts of Yun Shang. Yi Baiming had tried all kinds of methods, even the unicorn's binding magic, but he could not find the whereabouts of Yun Shang. This feeling was as if Yun Shang had disappeared. An unprecedented fear, a fear that he might lose Yun Shang forever, was like a viper, entangling Yi Baiming. His heart, which had always been calm, was in chaos. Yi Baiming's gray eyes were dyed with a layer of red light. This damned restriction, where exactly did it hide Yun Shang? Like a lone wolf who had lost its lover, Yi Baiming angrily roared. Damn it, give her back to me. Yi Baiming's gray eyes were bloodshot, and he had a bloodthirsty impulse. The dookie in his body was like a candle flame blown by a gale, wildly pulsing. Bang! A punch landed heavily on the restriction of Celestial Fox's tomb. A repulsive force came from the restriction, and Yi Baiming's hand was fiercely repelled. The Celestial Fox restriction was set up by the most powerful patriarch of the Celestial Fox people, Hu Yan. Its power, even after 5,000 years, had not decreased in the slightest. The restriction reflected Yi Baiming's dookie back to him, but Yi Baiming did not care about this at all. He roared, knelt on one knee in the direction where the magic array had disappeared, and punched heavily. When that punch landed, black scales appeared on Yi Baiming's left arm. Punch after punch, the restriction of the entire Celestial Fox's tomb shook. That terrifying dookie, accompanied by a terrifying dookie, actually affected the entire Dutian blood seal. The few people guarding outside the Celestial Fox's tomb, including He Linlin, Lu, Celestial Fox, Hu Linglong and Rita, all felt a terrifying dookie erupting like a volcano. The murderous aura above the Dutian blood seal began to twist, causing the entire seal to tremble. What's going on? Bang! 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 The Dutian blood seal became even more unstable. Cracks began to appear on the Celestial Fox's restriction. The situation inside could be vaguely seen from outside. They only saw a tall man half kneeling on the ground, and his fists repeatedly smashed into the Celestial Fox's restriction. Give her back to me. The man's desperate roar was like a tidal wave, endless and unending. He Linlin's heart shook when she saw the man's arm. Lu couldn't help but rush towards the Celestial Fox's restriction. He didn't see Yunsheng. Could it be that something happened to Yunsheng? The Celestial Fox's restriction became more and more unstable. Under the influence of Yi Baiming's dookie, the entire restriction was constantly twisting and changing. The magic fluctuations inside were also becoming weaker and weaker. Crazy, this person must be crazy. He wants to destroy the Celestial Fox's tomb. Hu Linglong's face was pale with fright. The Celestial Fox's restriction was becoming more and more unstable, as if it would collapse at any time. If the Celestial Fox's restriction was destroyed, the Dutian blood seal would inevitably suffer heavy damage. However, the Celestial Fox's tomb would also collapse. Hu Linglong still hadn't found the Celestial Fox's Sarira, so she couldn't sit back and watch Yi Baiming destroy the Celestial Fox's tomb. However, Hu Linglong couldn't enter the restriction. She could only watch as the restriction disintegrated inch by inch under the crazy man's fist. Heavens, what kind of monster is that? He actually destroyed the Celestial Fox's restriction, which is known as the strongest magic restriction. Rita, the descendant of the Beimeng clan, said with her mouth wide open. Rita remembered that she almost fought with that monster man earlier. She thought that the strength of that guy was higher than her. Boom! Yi Baiming punched heavily again. His fist was no longer in shape. His skin burst and his flesh was badly mangled. However, he still didn't feel any pain. In his ears there was a sound like glass shattering, followed by a series of gasps. The Celestial Fox's restriction was actually broken by brute force. Yi Baiming, you're crazy. You'll hurt yourself like this. He Linlin rushed forward, wanting to help Yi Baiming. However, just as her hand touched Yi Baiming's hand, the latter fiercely flung her hand away. Yi Baiming slowly stood up. He Linlin clearly saw Yi Baiming's appearance at this time. She couldn't help but be stunned. Yi Baiming's eyes had turned blood red, as if something was blocking his eyes. There was no focus in his eyes at all. He looked like a blind man. He couldn't see or hear anything. At this time, Yi Baiming only wanted to find Yunsheng. Where is Yunsheng? Damn it, why didn't you take good care of her? Ignoring the strange gazes of the crowd, Lu rushed forward, grabbed Yi Baiming's collar, and questioned him sternly. Where is she? Yi Baiming only repeated this sentence, as if he was in a dream. Without her, even if he stood at the top of the world, what could he do? This is the bonus for everyone's monthly votes for this month. 50+1 update. Chapter 760. Suddenly, Yi Baiming roared and slammed his shoulder into Green, sending him flying. It's you. You're the ones who caused Yunsheng's disappearance. I'll kill you all. He roared at the sky, his throat emitting a bestial roar. That roar was very special. It sounded like a dragon's roar, but also like a tiger's roar. His voice spread far and wide. When the nearby blood cloud beasts heard this roar, they were so scared that they didn't dare to move. Around his body, fighting aura danced like swords. In his eyes, there was nothing but killing intent. The murderous aura in the surroundings surged toward Yi Biming like a cat that had caught the scent of blood. As the murderous aura increased, the fighting aura on Yi Biming's body also increased. Beast blood berserk. Catch him first, he's gone mad. Green was alert. He also noticed that Yi Biming's beast blood berserk was different from ordinary people. However, how could Yi Biming hear this? He released the battle aura on his body crazily and attacked them. Don't hurt him. I want this man. He Linlin had a strange expression. It seemed like she was pleasantly surprised, but also afraid. The four of them rushed forward and used all kinds of magic and battle skills. However, how could Yi Biming be so easy to capture? With the help of the blood qi, although he was in a frenzy, the do qi on his body was becoming more and more vigorous, continuous and difficult to deal with. The do qi in his body seemed to be inexhaustible and inexhaustible. The do qi that entered his body burst out again. For a moment the sky was dark and the earth was dark. At this time, Yun Sheng had already left the tomb of Celestial Fox. She didn't know that Yi Biming had fallen into an unprecedented state of danger. After Yun Sheng entered the black hole, she groped around until she saw a glimmer of light. Then she climbed out. We're finally able to see the light of day again. I really thought that we would be trapped to death in there. Yun Shingang sighed emotionally. Why are you alone? Where did that arrogant man go? Behind him a cold voice sounded. Yun Sheng turned around and saw that not far away, Qingya of the Green Nether Wolf tribe and a pack of ferocious blood crystal wolves were looking at her with green eyes. Earlier, Yun Sheng and Yi Biming had suddenly disappeared. In order to prevent them from exposing the matter of the Beast King relic, the 8 Desolation descendants had split into 2 groups. He Linlin, Lulu Rita, and Hu Linglong entered the Dutian blood seal in the core area. Purple, Green Tooth, and the others headed to the middle of the Dutian blood beast world to intercept them. Qingya led his wolf pups to search the entire way, but they failed to find Yi Biming and Yun Sheng. Just as he was about to turn back, the wolf pups discovered traces of Yun Sheng. Yun Sheng also did not expect that the secret passage of Celestial Fox's tomb would lead directly to the middle of the Dutian blood beast world. It looked like she had already escaped, but she did not know how Yi Biming was doing. TSK, I remember now. Earlier in the middle, it was you who killed dozens of my blood crystal wolves. Qingya felt that Yun Sheng looked familiar. After thinking carefully, he remembered that she was in Lan's team. He had a deeper impression of Yun Sheng. Although she was not strong, the way she killed the wolves was very tricky. The Green Nether Wolf tribe belonged to the middle level of the 8 Desolation tribes. They were one of the more powerful magical beasts. But in terms of magical beasts, the wolf tribe was not the most powerful among the magical beasts. As warriors of the wolf tribe, whether it was hunting enemies or catching prey, they were very particular about technique. That was why Qingya noticed Yun Sheng. When she hunted the wolf pack, she was completely using technique. I remember now. Aren't you that little puppy who fled after being beaten by Sister Lan? Yun Sheng also noticed that there were a large number of blood crystal wolves around. It looked like there would be a fierce battle soon. Puppy? You dare to call me a puppy? Human, you must be tired of living. I am from the noble Green Nether Wolf tribe, Qingya said fiercely. Yun Sheng noticed that his wounds had already healed, and his abilities seemed to have improved compared to before. It had only been a day or so. How did his abilities seem to have improved so much? Yun Sheng could not help but be shocked. However, after thinking about it again, Yun Sheng understood. Green Nether Wolf tribe? Isn't that one of the famous 8 Wastelands tribes? Could it be that you are a descendant of the noble Green Nether Wolf tribe, and those people just now are also descendants of the 8 Wastelands like you? Yun Sheng pretended not to understand. She had long suspected why the descendants of the 8 Wastelands would gather in the Dutian blood world after so many years. There must be a conspiracy. This wolf tribe member called Qingya, although his abilities were not bad, but one look and one could tell that he was a simple-minded person. Compared to that He Linlin or Hu Linglong, he was much more stupid. If she wanted to get to the bottom of this, she had to think of a way from him. Yun Shang's prediction was right. Although Qingya's abilities were outstanding, he was after all a wolf tribe member. The number of times he interacted with the human tribe was too few, and he could not guess Yun Shang's intentions. Yun Shang's words of famous and noble made Qingya very happy. In addition, Yun Shang was beautiful and her abilities were very ordinary. Qingya could not help but underestimate her. At least you have some eyesight. I am the son of the Green Nether Wolf tribe's chief, Qingya. Those people just now were the direct descendants of the other 7 tribes. Qingya was immensely proud of himself. So you are the young chief Qingya. No wonder your abilities are outstanding. You entered the Dutian Blood Beast world to search for the Beast King Saraira. Could it be that the Beast King Saraira has some special function? Yun Shang took advantage of Qingya feeling good about himself to pursue the victory. Yun Shang unconsciously took a few steps closer. Her pair of beautiful eyes seemed to be able to hook souls as she looked at Qingya. She had just learned the corpse puppet technique. Qingya was also lucky to be in time to be Yun Shang's first test subject. Qingya was completely unaware that he had already been controlled by Yun Shang's corpse puppet technique. When he relaxed, he actually unknowingly revealed the secret of the descendants of the 8 barons gathering in the Dutian Blood Beast world. I didn't think that there would be people in the human race who know about the Beast King Saraira. That is, as long as we find the Beast King Saraira, we, the Bakra orcs, can restart the Dutian secret. Qingya was about to reveal the secret of the Beast King Saraira. Qingya, you idiot. Qingya was about to say something when he suddenly shouted, Qing, you idiot. Z of the D clan, after a wave of magic fluctuations, suddenly appeared in the magic array. Z was also looking around for the whereabouts of Yi Baiming and Yun Shang. After feeling a wave of magic fluctuations, he rushed over. Coincidentally, he saw Qingya being bewitched by Yun Shang. In a daze, he was about to reveal the secret. Qingya's cultivation level was very high. Yun Shang had not learned the corpse puppet technique for long. Zi's shout immediately woke Qingya up. Realizing that he had almost revealed the secret of the tribe, Qingya was angry and resentful. Crafty human. I'm going to have my wolf cubs tear you into shreds. Chapter 761. Purple was much more astute and cautious than Qingya. He could not help but suspect that this female magician's strength was very ordinary, but why did she not show any fear when facing him and Qingya? She did not even have the slightest intention of running away. Z remembered clearly that this female sorcerer's behavior was very different from ordinary humans when they were by the Crimson Moon River. She didn't save anyone and was so cold that she didn't seem like a woman. Z didn't agree with killing Yun Shang. He could see that Yun Shang was very important to the man named Yi Baiming. That man had entered the Qilin tomb earlier, and probably already knew the secret of the Beast King Saraira. He had to catch these 2 humans in one fell swoop. Otherwise, if the secret was leaked, the plan that the Bakra orcs had painstakingly planned for many years would be ruined. There was another reason why Z didn't want to kill Yun Shang. He had to capture Yun Shang alive. This was because when he and Green split up to look for Yun Shang and Yi Baiming, Green suddenly called out to him before they left. Green, who had never begged anyone, begged him for the first time. If he met that woman named Yun Shang, he had to keep her alive no matter what. Z remembered Green's expression at that time very clearly. There was a hint of pleading in his pain. Z didn't recognize that kind of Green. Z couldn't help but think of his teasing of Green earlier. He was afraid that his unintentional words at that time had become the truth. Z actually fell in love with this human woman. Z didn't like Yun Shang. Or it could be said that Z hated women. He didn't understand what had gotten into Green. Why would he fall in love with a human girl? But in the face of his good friend's pleading, if Z didn't do it or let someone hurt Yun Shang, Green would definitely hate him for the rest of his life. In desperation, Z decided that he had to capture Yun Shang alive no matter what. Your companions are not here. I advise you to surrender. Violet did not notice Yi Baiming. Violet had a particularly deep impression of Yi Baiming. Not only because Yi Baiming made He Linlin look at him in a new light, Violet also felt that Yi Baiming's aura and strength were very shocking. Whether he's here or not, I won't surrender. Are you trying to bully me with numbers? 2 men bullying a woman? Or are you saying that 2 beasts are bullying a woman? Yunsheng looked relaxed and provoked them. Human, I forgive you for being a woman. I'll give you one more chance. Surrender yourself or else. Zi's handsome face was so angry that it changed color. He suppressed his anger, but before he could finish his threat, Yunsheng suddenly smiled. Otherwise you'll kill me? Haha. These words make me so flustered. What should I do? I've never liked being threatened. Those who threaten me, there's only one outcome, and that's... Yunsheng deliberately kept them in suspense. What's that? If you have something to say it quickly. Qingyao was already a little impatient. Those who threaten me, there's only one outcome, and that's... No. Fine. Fine. Die. Yunsheng had just finished speaking when she suddenly leaped up. A pair of magic wings appeared on her back. What? Zi and Qingyao were both shocked. They originally thought that Yunsheng was just a saint magician. Who knew that she was actually a sky magician? What surprised Zi and Qingyao even more was yet to come. Just as Yunsheng leaped up, a magic array appeared below her. Within the magic array, a black figure flashed out like a ghost. Magic beast. You're a summoner. After sensing a magical wave, Zi realized that Yunsheng was actually a summoner. That's... Qingyao was even more shocked. He pointed at a magic beast that had just come out of the summoning array as if he had seen a ghost. It was a black dog that was as big as a calf. Although it was called a dog, it was more ferocious than a wolf. What kind of magic beast was that? Even Qingyao and Zi, who were born in the Bakra orcs, could not tell what level this black dog that was more ferocious than a wolf was. But one thing was certain. The level of this black dog was definitely not inferior to Qingyao. In other words, its bloodline was comparable to the Green Hell Wolf tribe. As soon as the black dog appeared, the nearby blood crystal wolves could not help but kneel on the ground. The situation was exactly the same as when they saw the Wolf King. That kind of power was comparable to Qingyao's. It's just a magic beast. Do you think that it can let you escape? Qingyao was still disdainful. Even if this magic beast's level looked high at most, it could only be a draw with him. Did this woman really think that his wolf pups and Zi were dead? One had to know that Zi was the most brilliant sorcerer in the D clan in the past 1,000 years. His attainments in light magic were comparable to those old sorcerers in the Boundless Land. With him around, Qingyao was not afraid even if he was seriously injured. Who said that I only have one magic beast? Yunsheng said slowly. When Purple and Qingyao heard this, they did not understand what Yunsheng meant. They also noticed that Yunsheng's summoning array was still emitting magical waves. They saw that another magic beast had appeared. This time, the magic beast that appeared was much smaller than the black dog from before. But when Zi and Qingyao saw the magic beast clearly, the corners of their mouths could not help but twitch. The Ant Clan. It was actually the Ant Clan. It was a magic beast the size of a puppy. The Ant Clan's body was densely covered with legs, looking like a centipede. Everyone said that the Ant Clan was the most insignificant existence among the magic beasts. But Zi and Qingyao, who were descendants of the Bakra orcs, knew very well how terrifying the Ant Clan was among the magic beasts. Although the ants were small, they were sharp enough to cut through gold. The Ant Clan was the race with the largest population and the strongest reproductive ability among all the magic beasts. Their overall strength was not strong, but if anyone provoked a commander-level demonic ant, the consequences would not be as simple as dying without a complete corpse. The two of them had already recognized that the Ant Clan member that crawled out of Yunsheng's magic array was a genuine commander-level demonic ant. This kind of demonic ant was very rare even in the continent where the Eight Desolate tribe was located. It was a kind of ancient demonic ant human. Don't think that you have to. Green Tooth held on with all his might. However, the tone of his voice was clearly lacking in confidence. Wait, there seems to be another magic beast. Even Zi, who was known as the Calm Emperor, was tongue-tied and could not speak clearly. Because he was speechless when he realized that Yunsheng's summoning array still showed no signs of disappearing. There was another burst of magical light shining in the magic array. This time it was a delicate figure that appeared. A girl of 13 or 14 years old jumped out of the magic array. The girl had a head of golden hair, and her body was overflowing with strong elements of the water spirit. Continue to update. Chapter 762. As soon as the golden-haired elf girl came out, she shouted at Yunsheng proudly, "Master, you're biased. You always let other little beasts come out and show their faces. Sister Night Demon promised me that this time, no matter what, it has to be my turn to appear." Yunsheng had a headache. She originally planned to summon the Night Demon Queen and end the battle quickly. Who knew that the little elf queen who wanted to show off would come out and interfere? Purple and Green Tooth were completely speechless. This was too heaven-defying. Since when could the elf race also be controlled by a summoner? Furthermore, that elven girl was clearly a king-level existence among the elves. Commander level, and king level. All of them were at the commander level. What was going on? In this day and age, were high-level magical beasts all rotten cabbages? There were so many of them that they could be found all over the streets. They watched as the summoned beasts appeared one by one, and each of them was even more powerful. Purple and Green Tooth's eyeballs were about to pop out of their sockets. At this moment there was only one thought in their minds. This world was too mysterious. Who exactly are you? Why do you have so many magical beasts? Purple squeezed out a complete sentence with great difficulty. The shock in his heart could no longer be described with words. A summoner, even the high priest in the tribe, could not summon so many magical beasts at once. However, Yunsheng could. Purple could not help but be in awe. Could it be that the summoners in the boundless world had developed to such a terrifying extent in the past 5,000 years? Yunsheng was only a few years old, but her magical beasts were undoubtedly top-notch existences. Yunsheng of Zhou State. Yunsheng smiled, and the two dimples at the corner of her mouth were unusually vivid. The moment the smile appeared, Yunsheng's face was filled with murderous intent. With a thought, several magical beasts leaped up. It wasn't that they hadn't seen summoners before. They had seen many summoners who were of a higher level than Yunsheng, but none of them could summon several magical beasts at once like Yunsheng did. Xiaohei was the first to activate its Devour the Heavens combat skill. It raised its head and let out a terrifying howl. In an instant, the world lost its color, and the entire sky darkened. Amidst the darkness, the centipede ant general had already launched its attack. It summoned a swarm of ants to surround the wolf pack while viciously spraying balls of venom at Green Fong. As the wolf clan's young patriarch, Qingya had always been the one who forced others to stomp their feet. When had it ever been like today, being forced to jump around on the ground by some ants? But he couldn't do anything about it, because the little elven queen who loved to see the world plunged into chaos had also joined the battle in the air. She danced lightly in the air and kept shooting ice spells at Green Fong and the wolves behind him. Once hit by the ice spells, the blood crystal wolf's body stiffened and turned into an ice sculpture. Xiaohei pounced and the ice sculpture was torn into pieces. Although Green Fong was agile, but he couldn't resist the entanglement of so many magical beasts. In a moment of carelessness, he was shot in the arm by the little queen. The blood vessels in his arm immediately coagulated and more than half of it was frozen. What Green Fong couldn't stand the most was that as a summoner, Yunsheng was actually calmly flying in the air at this moment. She didn't even use magic and just moved her lips at the slightest provocation. Xiaohei, bite his butt. Little queen, aim a little more accurately. It's best to freeze his ook so that he can't do it. Ant General, use your venom to spray him. Let him injure a few elite camp students. Damn, Green Fong was so angry that he almost vomited blood and fell to the ground. His dou-qi also dissipated a lot. Green Fong, calm your mind and don't be impetuous. Although Purple was intimidated by Yunsheng's magical beasts, he quickly regained his composure. He began to chant, and a holy light appeared on his body. A light element healing magic fell on Green Fong's arm, and the ice immediately receded. Even the previous wound was healed. Green Fong only felt that his mind was clear and all the depression and irritation that had long been swept away. He roared and the dou-qi that had already dissipated condensed again. He swept away Xiaohei with his foot. Only then did Yunsheng stop joking around. Purple's light magic seemed to be almost the same as Xiao Wenshu's. No wonder it was said that whenever there was a light magician on the battlefield, the first thing to do was to obliterate the light magician. It's just that Purple of the D clan was obviously different from those weak light magicians on the continent. He obviously also noticed Yunshang's intention. Although he was not good at attacking, he was outstanding in concealment. Yunshang ordered him to surround and attack several times, but he easily evaded. Yunshang, I've changed my mind. No matter who you are, you must die today. Purple realized how wrong his previous understanding was. He thought that only people like Yi Baiming could be a match for the descendants of the Eight Desolates. But now it seemed that this young girl named Yunshang was also not to be underestimated. She was cunning and good at concealment. If this person continued to grow stronger, one day, she would become one of the most terrifying beings on the boundless continent. He had to take advantage of the fact that she had yet to fully mature, or in other words, her magical beasts had yet to mature, and kill her first. Green, I'm sorry. This time, even if you want to hate me, I will kill this human girl. Purple raised his magic scepter and a ball of light appeared in his body. Yunshang noticed that a Saraira had appeared on his chest. Under the effect of the Saraira, Purple's body was gradually changing. Green Tooth watched from the side and was also shocked. He did not expect Purple to have the intention to kill this human girl, to the extent that he did not hesitate to use the power of Lord D's Saraira to kill her. Purple's Saraira was the Saraira he found when he entered the Tomb of Truth. Under the effect of Lord D's Saraira, Purple transformed into his original form. It was a dazzling unicorn covered in golden fur. Its limbs were strong and powerful, and its body was tall. Under the light of the Saraira, Purple's body was still changing. Gradually, the golden fur on its body turned red. Red blood unicorn. Yunshang's eyebrows twitched. She suddenly realized that the D clan of the Bakra orcs was the unicorn clan. Once Violet's transformation was complete, she would transform into the unicorn of slaughter, the scarlet blood sovereign king. Yunshang had experienced the power of the red blood unicorn. Moreover, Purple's strength was originally above the red blood unicorn. It seems that we can only fight to the death. Yunshang was awe-inspiring. A red and blue magic fluctuation was brewing in her hand, and the profound lightning vortex was slowly forming. At this critical moment, a roar like that of a trapped beast came from the direction of the Duqian blood print. That was... Yunshang's heart skipped a beat. Tonight, I'll write and publish a chapter. I've done my best. Everyone's rewards and monthly votes, muadada. Chapter 763. Yunshang was 100% sure that it was Yi Baiming's voice. Even though they were separated by hundreds of miles, Yunshang immediately sensed that something was wrong with Yi Baiming. Why did his voice sound so sorrowful and upset? Yunshang's emotions were unsettled. She wanted to immediately contact Yi Baiming, but Yi Baiming, who had already sunk into a frenzied state, could not sense Yunshang's consciousness at all. Her heart was in a mess. Purple, who was in the midst of transforming, also stopped. He also heard that proud and aloof voice that carried despair. At the same time, the D King's relic in his hand also became restless. In Qingya's storage belt, the Qingming relic also emitted an uneasy cry. The uncontrollable sense of uneasiness in Yunshang's heart grew stronger and stronger. At this moment, Yunshang's heart was no longer filled with killing intent or scheming. Her ears were only echoing with Yi Baiming's roar. Just a moment ago, Yunshang felt an unprecedented sadness and despair from the unicorn's horn. That sadness and despair came precisely from Yi Baiming. Almost unconsciously, Yunshang immediately activated the binding spell and disappeared. This is... Purple returned to his human form. He looked at the magical wave produced when Yunshang left with a strange expression. Qingya did not sense it, but Purple did. What Yunshang used just now was actually the D clan's legendary binding spell. Because she had the light unicorn's horn, if Yunshang and Yi Baiming encountered any danger, the light unicorn's horn would send out a warning. Her few summoned beasts also disappeared. F***CK, who said that the younger generation of the boundless continent is all trash. Those old fellows from the beast god altar, are their eyes muddled by cow shit? I don't want to fight with that female summoner ever again. She's too perverted. Greentooth could not help but curse. Originally, he thought that it would be a little sheep that he could pinch and flatten at will. Who would have thought that it would be a tigress in sheep's clothing? She was 100 times more ferocious than the Wolf King. The surroundings were filled with wolf bones that had been gnawed clean by the centipede ants. Not even a complete corpse was left behind. Qingya had never encountered such a tragic situation before. Green Tooth's situation was also very bad. He was in a sorry state. The situation isn't good. A human expert has entered the Dutian bloodprint. I'm afraid our plan this time is going to be exposed. Quickly go and meet up with them. I'll be there in a moment. Zishan stared in the direction of the Dutian bloodprint. Both of them could feel many powerful auras entering the Dutian blood beast world. Qingya's expression wasn't too good either. Although the number of powerhouses in the human race had dwindled in recent years, there were still some exceptional powerhouses that they couldn't match up to now. Before leaving, the Great God Palace had warned them not to alarm the human race no matter what, and to quickly find the Beast King's Saraira. However, Qingya and Hu Linglong had disobeyed the Great God Palace and insisted on teaching the human race a lesson. In the end they had caused such a huge mess. After Zishan's warning she disappeared. The vexed Qingya also calmed down. He raised his arm and called for the blood crystal wolves that hadn't died yet to follow him. They rushed in the direction of the Dutian bloodprint. The ground was littered with wolf bones and rivers of blood. At this time the Dutian blood realm was like hell on earth. Even the most ferocious blood cloud beasts didn't dare to enter this area. After Qingya and Zishan had left, not far away, an ordinary-looking rock suddenly moved. It slowly transformed into a human shape, into Feng Tian's appearance. Feng Tian's face was pale. Looking at the scene of devastation, he was extremely shocked. Feng Tian, Chen Lianer and Lu Tongtian didn't get along. In a moment of anger he acted alone. Originally, Feng Tian was still full of ambition. He thought that even if he had to rely on himself, it was completely possible to rescue the hostages. Who knew that not only did he not find the hostages' whereabouts, but he also got lost in the blood beast realm. 24 hours passed in a flash. Just when Feng Tian thought that he had no choice but to give up and leave this place, there was a strange movement in front of him. Feng Tian quietly used the earth element magic that he had just learned in the magic forest to conceal himself. This kind of magic could turn a person's body into a stone. Moreover, the person's aura would also disappear without a trace. Back then, Feng Tian also wanted to teach Chen Lianer a lesson, so he randomly chose a magic. He didn't expect that it would come in handy this time. He saw Yunshang suddenly climb out from the ground. She had just appeared when Qingya from the Green Nether Wolf tribe discovered her. Feng Tian didn't make a move to help Yunshang. He planned to hide at the side and wait for the two to fight to the death. Then he would make a move to kill Yunshang and capture Qingya. At that time all the credit would belong to him. He could also take the opportunity to eliminate Yunshang. Feng Tian was certain that Yunshang absolutely could not be Qingya's match. Who knew that at the last moment, Yunshang would transform into a summoner and summon many commander-level magical beasts that made Feng Tian tremble with fear. It was only today that Feng Tian understood the meaning of Yi Baiming's warning, when he was in the Heaven's Wings arena. Yunshang was the biggest obstacle to him becoming the #1 person in the continent's elite camp. After entering the magic elite camp for so long, everyone, including Feng Tian, had always thought that Yunshang was only a magician proficient in medical skills. Who knew that she was also a powerful summoner? The battle just now was still vivid in his mind. The magical beasts that Yunshang summoned were something that even Qingya and the others couldn't handle, let alone Feng Tian. He had always mocked Yunshang for being a good-for-nothing. He didn't expect that this good-for-nothing would have such terrifying strength. What genius! What kind of genius was Feng Tian? In front of Yunshang, he was not even a speck of dust. Feng Tian felt very desperate. He stood there in a daze, unable to move. His complacency, his arrogance, all of it had been polished away. Time passed little by little. There was not much time left before the 24-hour. As the wind blew, Feng Tian noticed that the place where Yunshang had suddenly appeared earlier was a dark cave. Earlier, Zi and Qingya hadn't paid attention to that cave. Feng Tian thought for a moment, then jumped into the black hole and crawled forward. After crawling for more than half an hour, Feng Tian felt his eyes light up. In front of him, he was already in an unfamiliar tomb. This is After Feng Tian's eyes adapted to the light, he looked around and his gaze fell on the human-shaped statue at the side. He was shocked and suddenly remembered a reminder that the Skywing City Lord had given him when he was in Skywing City. Enter the core area of the Dutian world and open the Beast King's tomb. As long as you absorb the magic blood crystal in the Beast King's tomb, you will become an unparalleled super magician. Feng Tian was ecstatic. He suddenly understood that he must have entered a certain Beast King's tomb. Magic blood crystal. He had to find the location of the magic blood crystal as soon as possible. Chapter 764. About a few hours ago, just as Yun Shang left the tomb of Celestial Fox, the second elder unexpectedly received news from the students sent by Yun Shang. He learned that the Dutian blood world had changed, and several powerful descendants of the Ba Huang had appeared in the core area of the blood world. After the second elder learned that the situation was not good, he sent a second request for reinforcements to the elite camp. Coincidentally, the ghost prison's first elder was worried about Yi Baiming, who had entered the blood beast world to find blood crystals, so he led a group of mentors and magicians to come. Before the ghost prison's first elder arrived, the second elder of the elite camp had already arrived at the Crimson Moon River. The people sent by Yun Shang had already explained that the two team leaders, Lan and Lu Tongtian, were ambushed by the descendants of the Ba Huang and were seriously injured and needed treatment. Not long after the second elder's arrival, the injured Lan, Lu Tongtian, and the others, under the escort of Qi and several other students, also found the second elder. After knowing the whole story, the second elder harshly reprimanded Lu Tongtian and Blue. As the leaders of the magic elite camp, the two of them were actually fighting over personal feelings at a time like this. This made the second elder very disappointed. After the second elder's treatment, Lan and Lu Tongtian's injuries were no longer serious. Seeing that they were all right, Qi wanted to enter the middle area of the blood beast world to find Yun Shang, but was stopped by the second elder. The 24-hour was about to pass. Whether it was Chan Liener or Yun Shang, according to the agreement, should have withdrawn. There was still no movement in the blood beast world. At this moment, the great elder of the ghost prison rushed over with several mentors of the Continental Magic Elite Camp. Seeing the first elder of the ghost prison, the second elder's anxious face had a touch of surprise. With the ghost prison around, the crisis this time would most likely be resolved. What's the situation? The first elder of the ghost prison met Ting Leigang on the way here, and had already learned some news from him. Who would have thought that even the two great elders of the magic elite camp would not be able to resolve this crisis? After the abnormal movements in the Dutian blood world, the relay station had issued an announcement that it was forbidden to enter the blood world again. They had also organized a search and rescue team to find those who were still outside the blood world. Tung Leigang and the others were still searching for the missing disciples of the elite martial artist camp. As for Yi Baiming, Tung Leigang said that he had never seen him. The ghost prison's great elder understood that Yi Baiming must have entered the Dutian blood world by himself, and it was even possible that he had already encountered the descendants of the Eight Desolates. The situation is not good. Earlier, the fourth elder and a few of my students had already entered, but they were ambushed. The captains of the two teams were injured and sent out. The fourth elder hasn't come out yet, and the whereabouts of the other students are still unknown. The second elder looked at the hour. It had already been 24 hours. There was no news of Yun Shang, Chan Liener and the others. Even the fourth elder had not returned. This made the second elder even more worried. Who knew that as soon as the second elder's voice fell, a five-colored cloud flashed in the sky. Not good, it's that strange five-colored cloud again. It's that strange cloud that took away a lot of people earlier. The second elder was alert. When the ghost prison's great elder heard this, he also looked alert. Who knew that this time, after the five-colored cloud rushed out, it did not attack again. On the contrary, a human voice came from above. Second elder, don't do it, it's one of us. The two elders then knew that this five-colored cloud turned out to be an empty ship. The five-colored empty ship slowly landed, and some fox guards came down from it. However, they looked dull and could not distinguish between friend and foe. As soon as they got off the empty ship, they were subdued by the students. Those students who had been kidnapped for a few days came down and told the whole story to the two elders. After listening, the ghost prison's great elder could not help but praise the courage of the female magician who sneaked into the empty ship. The second elder was frightened. Wasn't Yunshang's guts a little too big? When Lan heard it from the side, she could not help but be shocked. She secretly thought that in the entire continent's magic elite camp, only Yunshang dared to do this. In that case, even she only dared to ask for help from the camp. Yunshang, with her cultivation, dared to only take 2 students to save people. This Yunshang was too reckless. But at least she succeeded in saving dozens of students, and her merits outweighed her mistakes. The second elder counted and found that only 1 student had his magic soul sucked away. The others were not injured, but they were a little frightened. After comforting them, they felt a little relieved. Along the way, did you see the 4th elder? The second elder asked again. Those students said that they did not see him. On the other hand, the student that Yunshang had sent back to report suddenly said, reporting to second elder, Captain Yun had sent 2 people to deliver the message earlier. There was also another student who went to find 4th elder. Hearing the student's explanation, the second elder immediately understood what was going on. He understood the 4th elder's temper. He must be worried that the descendants of the 8 wastelands would do something to the Duqian blood seal. He must have gone to check the Duqian blood seal first. At this time, Gufeng and Qi, who had been waiting for a long time, did not see Yunshang. They were a little anxious. By the way, where is Yunshang? As soon as the empty ship landed, the guards of the Celestial Fox people were controlled, but they did not see Yunshang. Where is Yunshang? Qi did not see Yunshang on the empty ship. A few of the kidnapped students told Qi that not long after the empty ship took off, the Celestial Fox people saw through it. Yunshang and 2 other students got off the ship to stop the enemy. When they heard that there were 7 of them, and that all of them were magicians of sky rank or above, Gufeng and Qi's hearts sank. They understood that under such circumstances, Yunshang and the other 2 students were most likely dead. Second elder, take care of these students who were just rescued. I will lead a few teachers into the Duqian blood beast world. When we just arrived, we felt strange movements in the direction of the Duqian blood seal. It is very likely that the Bakra Orc's target is the Duqian blood seal. The ghost prison's first elder was also selfish. He did not care about the lives of the students of the mainland's magic elite camp, but his precious disciple Yi Baiming was now in the Duqian blood seal. The ghost prison's first elder hoped that Yi Baiming would not encounter any descendants of the 8 wastelands. Otherwise, if that kid was agitated and turned into a beast, it would be troublesome. Ghost prison's first elder, I will go with you, Qi volunteered. I will go with you too, Gufeng also volunteered. They were all very worried about Yunshang's safety. In the end, the ghost prison's first elder weighed the pros and cons. He saw that Qi's cultivation was not bad, so he was only willing to take Qi and a few teachers. They anxiously rushed to the core area of the Duqian blood beast world. Chapter 765. Near the Duqian bloodstains, the 4th elder had already cursed in his heart dozens of times. What a fucking trap. How could the students be so strong these days? Just as the second elder had guessed, the 4th elder had decided to go to the Duqian bloodstains after learning about the Duqian bloodstains' activities. He wanted to find out why the bloodstains had suddenly appeared near the Duqian bloodstains. The 4th elder was not worried. What kind of waves could these mere 8 descendants of the 8 desolates cause? This was because the toughness of the Duqian blood seal was not something that 8 immature beasts could break. At that time, the 4th elder was only a few miles away from the Duqian bloodstains. If he had successfully reached the Duqian bloodstains, perhaps everything would have been different. Yunshang wouldn't have entered the tomb of Celestial Fox, and Yi Baiming wouldn't have thought that Yunshang had met with a mishap and suddenly gone crazy. On the way, the 4th elder was ambushed by a few powerful magic matrices. Fortunately, the 4th elder was proficient in magic matrices and avoided being captured. The 4th elder and the other students didn't expect that Green, who was proficient in all kinds of magic matrices, had set up a large number of magic matrices in this area as soon as they entered the central area of the Duqian bloodstains. If an ordinary student encountered these magic matrices, they would only end up being captured. However, if they encountered a magic matrices expert like the fourth elder, they wouldn't be captured, but they would be delayed. The fourth elder wasted a few hours. By the time he escaped the magic matrices ambush and entered the Dutian bloodstains, he happened to see Yi Baiming and the bloodstains fighting. At that time, Yi Baiming was in a half-beast state. His clothes were tattered, and his limbs were like a beast's as he crawled on the ground. His body was covered in black scales and he looked terrifying. His eyes were bloodshot, and the 4 bloodstains were forced to retreat. At first, the fourth elder thought that it was a descendant of the 8 desolates. He was shocked that this person's strength was not to be underestimated. However, a student beside him pointed out that the half-human half-beast was the disciple of the Ghost Prison's great elder. That student had coincidentally participated in the trial in Skywing City earlier, so he still recognized Yi Baiming. After learning that Yi Baiming was the favorite disciple of the Ghost Prison's great elder, the fourth elder could not sit idly by. Yi Baiming, I am the fourth elder of the Magic Elite Camp. Seeing Yi Baiming in such a crazy state, the fourth elder was afraid that something bad would happen to him and hurriedly stepped forward to stop him. However, Yi Baiming didn't recognize the fourth elder at all. As long as someone approached, he would treat them as an enemy and launch a new round of attacks. The fourth elder hurriedly used his magic shield to block, but the moment his magic shield collided with Yi Baiming's fist, it shattered. The fourth elder was so scared that his forehead was covered in cold sweat. The appearance of the fourth elder made the 4 descendants of the 8 desolates breathe a sigh of relief. God knows at this time they would rather meet the elder of the Magic Elite Camp than face Yi Baiming. He Linlin didn't want to hurt Yi Baiming, so she asked the other 3 to hold back. However, Yi Baiming didn't appreciate it at all. Every move he made was fatal, and all kinds of combat skills were extremely tricky. Under the situation where they couldn't use the beast god's magic and combat skills, the 4 descendants of the 8 desolates used all their skills, but they could only barely stay undefeated. They thought that as long as they exhausted Yi Baiming's fighting chi, they could stop him. Who would have thought that after fighting fiercely for several hours, Yi Baiming didn't show the slightest sign of fatigue, and his moves were still biting cold. Yi Baiming didn't hear the fourth elder's voice at all. At this time he was like an evil spirit from hell. Destruction and killing were his everything. His eyes were bloodshot as he forced the students to retreat. Just when the fourth elder was helpless, the Ghost Prison's great elder appeared in time. Baiming, when the great elder rushed over with several mentors, he saw Yi Baiming's eyes were bloodshot, and his body was bathed in blood, as if he had walked through a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. Destruction and killing controlled his last trace of reason. Seeing this, the great elder released his fighting chi and stepped forward to stop Yi Baiming. He thought that after fighting for several hours, Yi Baiming's strength must be exhausted. Who would have thought that with a shake of his shoulder, he avoided the great elder's restraint. His eyes flashed strangely. Behind him, the evil spirit in the Dutian blood seal continuously poured into his body, spontaneously replenishing the fighting chi in his body. Yi Baiming's strength recovered, and like a hungry wolf, he pounced on the great elder and threw a punch. The Ghost Prison's great elder didn't expect Yi Baiming's strength to be so amazing. Although he had already activated his fighting chi armor to try to block, it was shaken by his punch, and the fighting chi armor was broken open with a big hole. The Ghost Prison's great elder lost his balance and retreated a few steps. Ghost Prison's great elder, everyone exclaimed. They didn't expect Yi Baiming to be crazy to this extent under the effect of the beast blood berserk. Even his mentor, the Ghost Prison's great elder, was forced to retreat with one punch. In everyone's eyes, Yi Baiming at this moment was like a blood-soaked god of death. Anyone who blocked him would be destroyed. The only thing we can do now is to kill him, the fourth elder said coldly. He immediately ordered the 4 mainland magic mentors who came with the Ghost Prison's great elder to stand up together. After the second elder hurriedly sent a request for help to the elite camp, the great elder selected 4 elements magic mentors to go with the Ghost Prison's great elder. These 4 elements magic mentors were quadruplets. Their appearance and body shape were exactly the same, but the magic they learned was completely different. They were water, earth, wind, and fire respectively. When these 4 different types of magic interweave together, they would form a special combination magic called the 4 elements magic net. This kind of magic net could imprison a person's body, causing them to be unable to use magic or battle chi for a short period of time. Ghost Prison's Great Elder, you can see the current situation. Yi Baiming's situation is not optimistic. If this continues, more students will be killed. The 4th Elder winked at the several magic mentors. The 4 magic mentors jumped out enchanted. Magic Fire bind. Magic Wind freeze. Magic Water trap. Magic Earth collapse. Red, green, blue, and yellow magic light entangled Yi Baiming's limbs, temporarily imprisoning Yi Baiming's figure. Yi Baiming, who was bound, let out a roar. However, those 4 strange magical powers were truly strange. He was at a loss for what to do at that moment. Ghost Prison's Great Elder, if it's time, please do it immediately. The 4th Elder's face was heavy, but he wanted the Ghost Prison's Great Elder to do it himself. The Ghost Prison's Great Elder's face was full of anger. You want this old man to personally kill his own disciple. Chapter 766. Ghost Prison's Great Elder. It's not that I'm forcing you, but Yi Baiming has already sunk into a state of madness. You've also seen that he doesn't recognize anyone now. Even if his biological parents were standing in front of him, he would still kill them without mercy. The 4th Elder's face was filled with grief. Even though Yi Baiming was a member of the continent's warrior elite camp, the magician elite camp and the warrior elite camp were originally connected. As an elder, he knew very well how rare it was to have an outstanding student. Furthermore, Yi Baiming's talent could no longer be described as simply outstanding. An 18-year-old martial emperor. With such talent, who in the entire continent could compare to him? However, Yi Baiming was still too young in the end. He had mistakenly entered the Dutian blood seal and absorbed too much baleful blood aura. He was countered by the baleful blood aura. If he continued to sit by and watch, he would completely demonize in the end. If it really reached that point, perhaps even the Ghost Prison's Great Elder would not be able to control him. How could the Ghost Prison's Great Elder not know about the 4th Elder's words? The Ghost Prison's Great Elder struggled in his heart. Yi Baiming was the one with the most indifferent temperament among all his students. However, to the Ghost Prison's Great Elder, he was also the most special one. The Ghost Prison's Great Elder and Wuxia Limitless Building's deputy head instructor, Qi Tian, had a good personal relationship. Yi Baiming was personally recommended by Qi Tian. In Qi Tian's recommendation letter, Qi Tian had once mentioned Yi Baiming's background. He said that he was a child with an indifferent temperament. However, this was all because he was born in the imperial family, and his mother had died early. Qi Tian had recommended him to the continent's warrior elite camp in the hope that he could temporarily break away from the whirlpool of power struggle in Zhou State and raise his cultivation to another level. He hoped that the Ghost Prison's Great Elder would treat him as his own child and carefully nurture him. The Ghost Prison's Great Elder had indeed done so. He eliminated all objections and allowed Yi Baiming to practice martial arts and cultivate according to his temperament. He also taught Yi Baiming everything he had learned. That was because he believed that Yi Baiming would be able to bring his battle skills to greater heights. He would also be able to lead the elite camp of the continent to greater heights. After Yi Baiming broke through to Martial Emperor, the Ghost Prison's Great Elder saw even more hope. However, this sudden change made the Ghost Prison's Great Elder have no choice but to stand on the opposite side of his own student. There were countless questions in the Ghost Prison's Great Elder's heart. What exactly happened that made Yi Baiming, who had always been cold and heartless, to have such a change? Ghost Prison's Great Elder really couldn't bear to kill him with his own hands. However, the 4th Elder was still aggressive. Ghost Prison's Great Elder, the 4 elements magic net cannot hold on for much longer. We must kill it as soon as possible. You can't kill him. As soon as He Linlin heard that the continent's elite magic camp wanted to kill Yi Baiming, she immediately stood up. Who are you? Ghost Prison's Great Elder asked. It doesn't matter who I am. They all say that the human clan is despicable and harms their own kind. He is affected by the blood qi, so you want to kill him. Humph, you're really stupid. If you can't save him, you can give him to me. He Linlin's face was full of confidence. She had already seen that Yi Baiming had a very mysterious and powerful force. That force, if used properly, was likely to be used by the Bakra orcs. Since the human clan couldn't tolerate him, she was happy to take him away. I'll save his life. Yun Sheng pushed the crowd and rushed out. When he saw Yun Sheng, Abandon couldn't help but be overjoyed. He hurriedly walked forward. Yun Sheng acted as if she didn't see Abandon and went straight to the ghost prison's great elder. Abandon couldn't help but feel bitter in his heart. After Yun Sheng heard the warning from the unicorn's horn, she rushed over. Looking at Yi Baiming, who had fallen into madness, Yun Sheng's eyes were full of shock and disbelief. What was going on? What happened after she and Yi Baiming were separated? Yun Sheng stepped back. There is no room for you to speak here. The fourth elder reprimanded. A freshman student, who had just made a meritorious service, wanted to interfere with the elder's decision. It was really presumptuous. I'm a doctor. I know his current situation very well. He just can't control his beast blood frenzy properly. I can help him recover. Yun Sheng gritted her teeth. Looking at Yi Baiming, who was controlled by the four mentors, Yun Sheng felt a dull pain in her heart. Is this true? The ghost prison's great elder looked as if he had seen a life-saving straw. Yi Baiming was the most valued student of the ghost prison's great elder for so many years. He had even thought that as long as Yi Baiming could successfully integrate with the Kirin blood crystal this time, he would pass on his mantle to Yi Baiming. Killing Yi Baiming was a last resort. Fourth elder, we can't hold on any longer. Several mentors tried their best to hold on. Inside the magic array, Yi Baiming was like a trapped beast that could break free at any time. Within the Dutian blood seal, countless streams of fiendish blood qi surged towards him like raging waves. Believe me, I can save him. Yun Sheng took a deep breath. The Yi Baiming in front of her was no longer the Yi Baiming she knew. Yi Baiming should be black-bellied and cunning. Yi Baiming should be evil, but he should not be like this. I strongly disagree. No one can get close to him now. It's too dangerous. The fourth elder did not want to see Yun Sheng throw away her life. In the current situation, Yun Sheng still wanted to get close to him to save him. It was undoubtedly like a moth flying into a flame, risking her life. How will we know the result if we don't try? Yun Sheng gritted her teeth, and the needles on her fingertips flashed. She stepped forward and ordered the mentors in an indisputable tone, remove the magic array. The mentors hesitated. Remove it. Yun Sheng's eyes turned sharp, and a majesty that could not be ignored spread out from her body. The magic mentors only felt their souls tremble, and involuntarily put down their magic scepters. As soon as the magic array was removed, Yi Baiming regained his ability to move. At this time he was like a beast landing on all fours. His forelimbs kicked, and he fiercely pounced on Yun Sheng. Yun Sheng did not dodge, and she rushed towards Yi Baiming. Yun Sheng, it's dangerous, come back quickly. Seeing Yun Sheng pounce on Yi Baiming, he was terrified. Come back. Green was also anxious and wanted to pull Yun Sheng back. Who knew that Yun Sheng did not care about anything, and with a flap of the magic wings on her back, she had already dodged everyone's attempts to stop her. Seeing the magic wings on her back, the elders of the mainland magic elite camp were stunned. Yun Sheng had also broken through. If they remembered correctly, Yun Sheng should have just broken through not long ago. How could she have broken through to become a sky mage so quickly? Seeing Yun Sheng pounce on Yi Baiming, everyone's hearts were lifted. Feeling that someone was approaching, Yi Baiming, who had fallen into madness, threw a punch towards the figure. In a daze, Yi Baiming heard a hurried call. Night Fox, wake up. That voice was so familiar and so warm. I tried my best, I can't even lift a finger. Although I did not achieve the expected results, thank you all. Good night. Chapter 767. A trace of confusion flashed across Yi Baiming's eyes. It was that trace of confusion that gave Yun Sheng the opportunity to hug him tightly with her soft arms. She did not care about the half-beast scales on his body, nor did she care about his body that reeked of blood. There was no fear in Yunshang's eyes, only absolute trust. She knew that Yi Baiming would not hurt her. A familiar fragrance wafted into his slightly stiff arms. Feeling that strange warmth, Yi Baiming's body stiffened. Yunshang's hand instantly circled around his neck, and the needle hidden in her hand accurately pierced the back of Yi Baiming's head. The moment the tip of the needle pierced through, Yi Baiming's mind roared. The layer of red light in his eyes gradually dissipated and returned to gray. The black scales on his arm faded away. He firmly hugged the person who had pounced on him, and his rapid breathing became steady. He greedily breathed in the familiar and warm scent of the woman, and stroked her soft hair. The feeling of regaining what he had lost caused Yi Baiming's heart to sink inch by inch. If possible, he did not want to let go of the person in his arms for the rest of his life. Yi Baiming's gray eyes were filled with tenderness. "You're back." Yunsheng nodded gently. The murderous aura around him disappeared without a trace in an instant. The murderous aura that had surged wildly towards him could no longer get close to him. Yi Baiming hugged Yunsheng tightly. Her soft body exuded a fragrant scent. It was Yunsheng. She was fine. She was fine. His chaotic heart had never been so calm before. Yunsheng pressed against Yi Baiming's chest. Feeling his violently heaving chest, her heart softened bit by bit. Everyone watching from the side trembled with fear. The descendants of the Bakra orcs were also shocked, especially He Linlin. She did not expect that Yunsheng had such a great influence on Yi Baiming. Yi Baiming was like a blood-soaked god of death just now. But at this moment, he had become an ordinary person. An ordinary man who was immersed in the joy of regaining what he had lost, and looked at his lover with the most gentle eyes. He Linlin was crazy with jealousy. She envied Yunsheng, and she also wanted that man's most attentive gaze. Green was dazed as he looked at the shy Yunsheng. Although her face was full of anger, her blushing cheeks and the way she gritted her teeth were so glaring to the eyes. "Ahem, Baiming, you don't look very elegant like this." Elder Ghost Prison saw that his disciple had returned to normal. He was happy, but he could not help but frown. Yunsheng only noticed now that Yi Baiming's upper body armor had been completely destroyed due to the fierce battle earlier. His upper body could be said to be completely naked. She did not care about anything else and rushed forward to hug Yi Baiming. Now, everyone was looking at her as if she had taken the initiative to throw herself into his arms. But Night Fox was still hugging her tightly and did not let go. "Let go. It's so embarrassing." Yunsheng was very embarrassed. She could imagine that the people behind her must be commenting on her bold actions. "What? You were the one who threw yourself into my arms. Don't worry, I want to hug you for a while longer, in case you disappear again. If you're afraid of being embarrassed, don't raise your head. I'll take you away." Yi Baiming did not care at all. A devilish smile appeared on his face again. He became that Yi Baiming that Yunsheng hated and loved at the same time. However, Yunsheng was more used to this Yi Baiming. With a grab of his arm, he lifted Yunsheng into his arms. Yunsheng imagined the countless ambiguous gazes behind her. She simply followed Yi Baiming's instructions and buried her head like an ostrich, refusing to raise her head. Now Yunsheng was buried in front of Yi Baiming. She did not know what the others were saying, but her mind was in a mess and she could not think clearly. She did not notice at all that when Yi Baiming walked out of the crowd with her in his arms, there were several jealous gazes in the crowd. Watching Yunsheng walk further and further away, her head resting on Yi Baiming's body, Qi and Lu could not help but feel sad. He Linlin clenched her fists, her pink face full of anger. Yi Baiming's crisis was resolved. The Ghost Prison's elder breathed a sigh of relief. Only then did the Ghost Prison's elder remember that in the Duqian blood seal, there were still some descendants of Bakra orcs. He Linlin and the others were more or less injured. The 8 of them were fighting against the Ghost Prison's elder as equals. The Ghost Prison's elder looked at the 8 young men and women in front of him. These people were the most outstanding descendants of the Bakra orcs. If they were killed, the Bang tribe would suffer heavy losses. To kill or not to kill. Similarly, the descendants of the Bang tribe were also looking at the Ghost Prison's elder. The killing intent gushing out from the Ghost Prison's great elder's eyes was also seen by them. Seeing the Ghost Prison's elder's murderous intent, Lu walked out and pretended to bow respectfully, Ghost Prison's elder, don't try to kill us. You should feel that the Duqian blood seal is now very unstable. If it is not repaired, it will collapse in a few days. The Ghost Prison's elder frowned. What Lu said was not wrong. An important part of the Duqian blood seal, the celestial fox seal, was forcibly broken by Yi Baiming, and a corner of the blood seal collapsed. In this way, the power of the blood seal was greatly reduced. At this time, if they fought fiercely with the descendants of the Bang tribe, it was likely to cause the blood seal to collapse further. If the Duqian blood beast world collapsed, the entire Wuji continent may face the attack of the magical beast army. The most important thing now was to find a way to repair the Duqian blood seal. I have a way to fix the blood seal. What is your purpose in entering the blood beast world? Be honest and I will be lenient. Otherwise, I don't mind sparring with you. The Ghost Prison's elder looked coldly at these descendants of the Bang tribe in front of him. The Ghost Prison's elder had to admit that the talents of these young men and women of the Bang tribe were indeed better than their peers in the Wuji continent. Lu, however, smiled slightly with a harmless face. Ghost Prison's elder, if we don't tell you, are you really going to use your seniority to suppress us? If this matter is spread out, I'm afraid it will attract criticism. Humph, in front of a great enemy, for the future of the Wuji continent, I am not afraid of being ridiculed. The Ghost Prison's elder's old face reddened, and he was also choked by Lu's words. Ghost Prison's elder need not be angry. The Duqian blood seal is very unstable now. I think elder should not sit by and watch the Duqian blood seal be destroyed. For the benefit of both sides, why don't we calm down and have a good talk? Lu looked very young, but his tone was rather experienced. It was obvious that he was very shrewd. What qualifications do you have to negotiate with me? The Ghost Prison's elder was very dissatisfied with Lu's nonsense. In fact, Lu and the others could only be considered as juniors. If they wanted to negotiate, it would have to be the few old fellows of the Beast God altar. Based on our hands and your people. Lu clapped his hands and a few beast race guards brought out a group of people. Chapter 768. The captives that Green brought out were Chan Lian, and the sorcerers that followed her. Fourth Elder's face turned ugly when he saw this. 24 hours had passed, but Chan Lian and the rest did not appear. It turned out that they had been captured by Green. Chan Lian and the rest were embarrassed and did not know where to look. Chan Lian and the rest were also unlucky. They did not find the hostages in the middle area of the Blood Beast world. Instead, they were careless and fell into the magic array that Green had set up in the middle area of the Duqian Blood Beast world. You are from the 9 Phoenix tribe? Ghost Prison's elder was depressed. The 9 Phoenix tribe of the 8 Baron tribes were proficient in music and all kinds of magic arrays. If one was captured by their magic array, it would be very difficult to escape. I am precisely the grandson of the 9 Phoenix old patriarch. Lu flashed his signature canine teeth. His steamed face was filled with a lovable smile. However, his words made the great elder have an impulse to vomit blood. Good, very good. The 9 Phoenix tribe leader raised a good grandson. Ghost Prison's elder was so angry that he could not speak. Although the one who was captured wasn't a student of the warrior elite camp, the magic elite camp and the warrior elite camp were in the same boat. If he didn't save him in front of everyone, the magic elite camp's head elder would fight him to the death when he returned to the camp. Release them and I'll spare your lives today. Go back and tell those old fellows from the Beast God altar to stop dreaming of invading the boundless world. Otherwise, what awaits them will be annihilation. After weighing the pros and cons, the Ghost Prison's Grand Elder decided to temporarily put aside the matter of killing the 8 desolate beast kin. We will let them go. However, Ghost Prison's First Elder still needs to return the 5-colored spaceship and the celestial fox guards on it to us. Those are the treasures of the celestial fox people. Green's words made Hu Linglong feel sweet. She thought that Green was trying to get the 5-colored spaceship and the fox guards back for her. Ghost Prison's First Elder could only agree. The 5-colored spaceship and the Second Elder quickly rushed over. Seeing the dispirited faces of Chan Lian, and the rest, the Second Elder's face was filled with disappointment. Wait, we're still short of one student. Feng Tian is missing. Second elder counted the number of people and realized that only Feng Tian was missing. Among the dead students who had been cleaned up earlier, Feng Tian's corpse was not found. According to the rules, Feng Tian should have come out after 24 hours. Everyone is here. If you don't believe me, you can ask your people. Green did not buy it. When the second elder asked, he found out that Feng Tian had left in a fit of anger, and his whereabouts were still unknown. Only then did the descendants of the 8 desolates board the ship. Hu Linglong hesitated and whispered into Green's ear, "Green, I haven't entered the celestial fox tomb yet." Hu Linglong, all of this was caused by you. If you want to enter the celestial fox tomb, you can go in by yourself. Lu snorted and no longer paid attention to Hu Linglong. Being scolded like this, tears flashed in Hu Linglong's eyes. She unwillingly looked at the celestial fox tomb. Due to the collapse of the restriction, the entrance to the celestial fox tomb could no longer be entered, let alone find the celestial fox relic. If they could not find the celestial fox relic, the celestial fox people would completely lose the opportunity to obtain the inheritance of the sacred beast. They would probably forever be reduced to the inferior beast race, unable to make a comeback. Even if she was unwilling in her heart, Hu Linglong was helpless. Before boarding the spaceship, He Linlin suddenly turned around. "Ghost Prison's first elder, please tell Yi Baiming that I will come to find him again." Ghost Prison's first elder snorted. "Beasts will always be beasts. Can't you see that our Baiming has already found a beautiful and likable fiancé? Only a ghost would be interested in a woman like you." After the 8 wilderness beastmen left, Ghost Prison's first elder immediately ordered someone to find the first elder. The first elder immediately contacted the temple and the Zao state. A few days later, people from the temple and the Zao state rushed over. The elders repaired the Dutian blood seal together. After the matter calmed down and they waited for the other major forces to send people over, the mainland magic elite camp did a final count of the casualties. There were heavy casualties in this blood purge. Just the death toll alone was over 60 people. Even Feng Tian, who originally had the most potential in the mage elite camp, had gone missing in this blood purge. In the end, he was determined to be dead. In the sky, the 5-colored spaceship emitted a soft light. Lu stood alone at the bow of the ship, letting the strong wind in the sky blow past him like a knife. His heart was filled with sadness. After this, he did not know when he would be able to meet Yun Shang again. Well, even if he met her again, she would probably already be. Green recalled the scene when Yunsheng pounced on Yi Baiming without hesitation when they met before they got married. She was clearly filled with killing intent, but she was not afraid at all. The moment that devil-like man saw her, it was as if the snow in the spring had melted. The scene of the two hugging each other was poignant yet harmonious. There was no room for a third person between the two of them. TSK, this time it's really a failure. If not for Hu Linglong's superfluous act of kidnapping people, how would we have attracted the mainland magic elite camp's people? We are still missing a celestial fox relic. Purple walked to Lu's side and stood shoulder to shoulder with him. 7 Beast King relics should be enough. The Dutian blood seal has been severely damaged. Even if it is repaired, its power will not be as strong as before. Opening the Dutian secret passage is just a matter of time. Lu and the others had successfully found the Beast King relics. Due to Purple's appearance, Yun Shang was unable to find out the exact reason why the descendants of the Bahuang tribe appeared in the Dutian blood beast world. The 8 people who came to the Dutian blood world this time were originally designated by the tribe as the most outstanding people in this generation. Their bloodline was noble and their strength was superior to their peers. As long as they obtained the Beast King relics, they could enter the Beast King altar to obtain the inheritance of the Beast God, and their strength would be improved. But most importantly, as long as they obtained the Beast King relics, the Beast God altar could activate the power of the leaders of the 8 major beast tribes and reopen the secret passage that transported the Bahuang tribe to the New World. Only by opening the secret passage could the Bahuang tribe return to the boundless land. If that's the case, why do you still look so gloomy? Lu, are you worried about that woman called Yun Shang? Purple saw the difference in Lu's expression. The Lu that Purple knew was the young leader of the 9 Phoenix tribe who was doted on by everyone on the surface. But in reality, Only those who truly understood Lu would know that Lu's true colors were completely different from what he usually showed. This was clearly shown when he was negotiating with the ghost prison's great elder just now. Although he and Purple had split up to chase after Yunshang and Yi Baiming, he had ordered people to set up many magic arrays in the middle of the Dutian blood beast world. This time, if not for Lu's foresight, they would have to fight a fierce battle with the ghost prison's great elder before they could leave the blood beast world. Purple, I think I have fallen in love with that woman. Lu had a worried look on his face. Chapter 769. Seeing his good friend's reaction, Zi's eyes twitched, and he resisted the urge to strangle him. This damn brat was really slow on the uptake. Green was a little distressed. If he had denied earlier that he had feelings for Yunshang, but just now, when he saw Yunshang being taken away by Yi Baiming, Green's heart was in turmoil. He even had the urge to abandon everything and prepare for a fierce battle with Yi Baiming. Green, you can't fall in love with that woman. Z sighed. Green was really silly. He said that he liked her, but in his heart he was probably deeply in love with that woman called Yunshang. Just now, Green's behavior was abnormal, and he almost lost his mind and rushed forward. This was the young clan leader of the 9 Phoenix tribe that Z knew, who looked like a sheep but had a wolf in his heart. Don't talk to me about humans and beasts. It's not like there are no humans in the 8 wastelands. Don't beasts still marry humans? Green said unhappily. The people of the Boundless Continent did not know that there were humans in the continent where the Bakra orcs were located. It was just that those humans were originally natives of the 8 wastelands. As they were not strong and had weak limbs, they were quickly conquered by the 8 major tribes represented by the Bakra orcs and became slaves or free people. This person was good at everything, but his personality was a little cold and pedantic, and his temper was the same as his grandfather's. To think that he was still young. Those humans can only be concubines or female slaves. Do you think that woman called Yunshang will be willing? Z recalled the battle with Yunshang earlier, and the corners of his eyes twitched heavily. Although they did not fight head-on, Yunshang's wit and cunning had left a deep impression on Z. No matter how he looked at it, such a woman was not a woman who could serve the same husband with others. Although most of the Bakra orcs had the ability to transform into human form, many traditions still retained the habits of the beasts, such as promiscuity between men and women and polygamy. These were very common. For example, Green and Z's father or grandfather had more than 10 wives and dozens of children. Only the most outstanding ones could be treated as children of the first wife. Who said that I want her to be a concubine? She's willing, but I'm not. Green was a little flustered. Green, listen to me. Forget about that woman. Z originally did not want to tell Green, but to prevent Green from falling deeper into this impossible relationship, he still felt that there were some things that needed to be told. That woman called Yunshang, and that Yi Baiming have formed a binding magic between each other. You should have heard of the binding magic of the D clan. Z first found a trace of the binding magic on Yunshang. Later, he witnessed Yunshang and Yi Baiming hugging each other. When they hugged each other, a strong binding magic fluctuation confirmed Z's initial guess. The Unicorn clan was also known as the D clan. They were one of the oldest magical beasts on the continent. There were many legends about the D clan, but the most famous one was the binding magic, also known as the binding curse. According to legend, the earliest binding magic was formed by the union of a light unicorn and a dark unicorn. They formed a very special magic between each other, which could predict the other's safety and even joy, anger, sorrow, and joy. Thus, they were inseparable and accompanied each other for life. But because the clan was a feud, this pair of unicorns did not end well in the end. Since then, the binding magic had become the binding curse. Any unicorn couple who was stimulated by the binding magic would not end well in the end. How is that possible? Yunshang is not the D clan. Green could not believe it. The binding curse is not only useful on unicorns. If a man and a woman have a pair of unicorn horns that are in love with each other, there is a certain percentage that can stimulate the binding curse. I think Yunshang and Yi Baiming's situation has already formed this kind of special magic. The two of them won't have a good ending. Z didn't believe in this kind of superstitious curse. But in the D clan, any pair of unicorn lovers who produced the binding magic would not have a good end in the end. It turned out that the binding curse really existed. Who knew that? After hearing Z's words, Green's originally listless face became excited. He grabbed Z. Z, is what you said true? Will they have a good end? Cough cough. Green, what are you doing? Let go. Z was held by Green's collar and had difficulty breathing. Haha, it's best if they don't have a good end. Then I can snatch Yun Sheng. Green loosened his claws and rubbed his palms, his face full of eagerness. When he inherited the beast god's inheritance and became the chief of the 9 Phoenix clan, he was not afraid that the group of old guys in the clan would stop him. Why don't you understand? Although the lovers who are cursed by the binding curse cannot be together, they are really in love with each other. Their souls are connected and they only have feelings for each other in their lives. Z hurriedly explained. But when he finished his explanation, he found that Green was gone. It turned out that Green thought of accepting the beast god's inheritance as soon as possible and doubled his efforts. Green did not hear Z's advice at all. Green did not hear it, but the other person heard it. What you said just now is true. Hey, Lin walked out. You saw the situation at that time. Do you think that there is room for other people to interfere with those two? Z's face changed, somewhat unhappy that Hey Lin was eavesdropping on his and Green's conversation. As the 3 superior beast clans of the Ba Huang tribes, the competition between the Black Qilan, the 9 Phoenix and the D clan was fierce. Z and Green were good friends, but with Hey Lin they could not even be considered friends. This woman had always done things unreasonably. No one knew what she would do in the next moment. So what? Z, you overestimated the magic of the D clan. In this world, there is one thing more difficult to reverse than magic, and that is bloodline. But you are right about one thing, they will never be together. Hey Lin pushed the short hair in front of her forehead, her eyes shining with confidence. After saying that, Hey Lin walked away with a cold and arrogant face. Z's expression was complicated. He did not know whether this trip to the beast blood boundary was a blessing or a curse. This time he was caught in an inexplicable whirlpool of emotions. It was not only Green who was abnormal. Even Hey Lin, who was known as the proud daughter of the heavens, was probably in trouble this time. However, Z also witnessed the strength of the younger generation of the boundless world. Whether it was Yi Baiming who could use the blood chi for his own use, or Yun Sheng who had an unknown summoning power, they all made Z's heart palpitate. With the 7 Beast King relics in place, the day of the opening of the Duqian secret passage was just around the corner. At the thought of returning to the boundless world and washing away the humiliation of his ancestors 5,000 years ago, the usually calm Z felt his blood boiling. Chapter 770. The Ghost Prison's Great Elder stood outside the Duqian relay station and looked at the sky with a solemn expression. The spaceship of the Bang descendants had disappeared, but the commotion they caused had not ended. Instead, it was just the beginning. He believed that the news of the Bakra orcs reappearing in the boundless world would spread soon. The worst thing was that they had not figured out the real purpose of the Bang descendants in the Duqian blood beast world. Or rather, what they had obtained in the past few days in the Duqian blood beast world. In the mainland's magic elite camp, a star mark student was still missing. When they returned, there would be another dispute. The Ghost Prison's Great Elder only felt a wave of frustration, but on second thought, this trip was not all bad news. He learned from Yi Baiming that he had entered the Qilan tomb and obtained 10 blood crystals. As long as he fused with a portion of the blood crystals, Yi Baiming would definitely come out on top in the next divine artifact search. Great Elder, the people from the Temple Zao State and Hunters Guild have arrived. They would like to invite you over to discuss the restoration of the Duqian blood print. The Ghost Prison's Great Elder collected his thoughts and walked back to the Duqian relay station. The Ghost Prison's Great Elder, along with a few other people from the Temple, Hunters Guild and Zao State, entered the Duqian blood print that night to check on the damage. The Temple sent Jiyu, the Hunters Guild sent an S-class hunter, and the Zao State sent a main summoner. They checked the 8 areas of the Duqian blood print and found that only one area, the Celestial Fox's tomb, had been destroyed. Just by looking at the situation in the Celestial Fox's tomb, One could imagine how intense the battle in the bloodprint was. In order to protect Yi Baiming, the ghost prison's great elder didn't say that the restriction on the celestial fox's tomb was broken by Yi Baiming. He only said that it was broken by the descendants of the 8 Desolation race during the fierce battle. The bloodprint situation is not optimistic. Elder Arbiter of Life Ji Yu was an expert in magic formations. After checking, he shook his head. What do you mean? Could it be that even with everyone's strength we still can't repair it? Ghost Prison's great elder didn't expect that even Elder Seeming couldn't do anything. It can be repaired, but even if it is repaired, it is already at the end of its tether. You should know that the tomb of the celestial fox in the blood seal is the place with the strongest mana. But now, the mana restriction in the tomb of the celestial fox has been completely destroyed. Elder Judge Ji Yu was very wary of the descendant of the Octoterra, who destroyed the mana restriction in the tomb of the celestial fox. He had such a cultivation at such a young age. If he received the inheritance of the beast god, his strength would be even more shocking. The previous leader of the celestial fox people was the one with the highest mana among all the beasts. His blood formed the most basic part of the Dutian bloodprint. Now that the foundation had been destroyed, there was no new blood of the celestial fox people to redraw the magic formation. The power of the bloodprint would only weaken day by day. What's the point of saying all this? It has to be repaired even if it can't be repaired. Otherwise, when the Dutian blood beast world collapses, the boundless world will suffer, Ghost Prison's great elder said embarrassedly. The only thing we can do now is to temporarily repair the bloodprint. But this temporary repair can only last for 3 years at most. After 3 years, if we can't find a replacement for the blood of the descendants of the celestial fox people, the Dutian bloodprint will still collapse. And this time the collapse will be even more thorough. I'm afraid it will affect the entire Dutian blood world, Elder Seeming said earnestly. What if we can't find the descendants of the celestial fox? There are no more descendants of the 8 desolates on the continent. There was one originally, but it ran away, Ghost Prison's great elder said unhappily. The second elder of the magic elite camp didn't look too good either. Ghost Prison's great elder was implying that Chan Liener and the others were a burden. But in the end, it was his own camp students who didn't live up to expectations. The second elder could only accept it. It's not a problem even if we can't find the descendants of the celestial fox. There's another way, which is to find the 8 great artifacts. As long as we can find the 8 great artifacts that were lost since ancient times, we can still use the power of the artifacts to reconstruct the Dutian bloodprint. Elder Seeming Ji Yu stroked his beard and muttered. It seems that finding the artifacts is urgent. But finding the artifacts isn't something that can be done overnight. Let's gather our strength and temporarily repair the Dutian bloodprint. Ghost Prison's great elder and a few others temporarily repaired the Dutian bloodprint. But in order to prevent the bloodprint from regenerating, this time they constructed a powerful magic array outside the Dutian bloodprint. This magic array prevented the magical beasts of the Dutian blood beast world from entering the Dutian bloodprint. The people in the bloodprint also couldn't come out. After confirming that the Dutian bloodprint was temporarily stabilized, Ghost Prison's great elder led a group of warrior students and the second elder to return to the continent's magic elite camp. In the continent's magic elite camp, the news of the countless casualties in this blood purge had already spread. There was a panic in the magic elite camp. When Keling heard the news, she was secretly delighted. She thought that Yun Shang must have met with an accident. In addition, this time the Dutian blood beast world happened to be in chaos. No one would link Yun Shang's death to her. Just as Keling was dreaming, Yun Shang suddenly came back. Why aren't you dead? Seeing Yun Shang come back alive and kicking, Keling turned pale with fright. Haha, senior sister, your words are funny. Why can't I come back? Not only did I come back, but I also brought back some gifts for you. Yun Shang took out a set of warrior robes and a bag of gold coins and threw them to Keling. When Keling saw these 2 things, she was so frightened that her face turned pale and her lips turned pale. She couldn't speak. These things should be very familiar to you, right? Yun Shang smiled very brightly. I don't recognize them. Keling didn't expect that the warriors who went to assassinate Yun Shang didn't return. The great elder of the ghost prison didn't know the real situation. He just put the blame of the missing students on the descendants of the 8 wastelands. Do you want to know what happened to those people? I threw them into the river to feed the blood-toothed crocodiles. Their heads were separated from their bodies, and even their bodies can't be seen. Yunsheng showed a cold smile. What do you want? Keling found that compared to Yunsheng, her scheme was nothing. She wanted to ask for help, but she remembered that the dark gold teacher had said that if she played any tricks, she would kill her. Keling was now in a dilemma. She looked at Yunsheng in fear. Get out of the magic elite camp. Don't let me see you for the rest of your life. I don't want to kill you because killing you will dirty my hands. Yunsheng's eyes changed and she said fiercely. Keling was so scared that her legs went soft. She didn't dare to stay any longer. She hurriedly packed her luggage and left the magic elite camp that night. After dealing with Keling, Yunsheng thought of the other 2 people. Everyone had to speak one sentence at a time and eat one mouthful at a time. As for humans, they had to be dealt with one by one. Chapter 771. After chasing Keling away, Yunsheng felt very comfortable. If not for the fact that Keling was a dark gold rank teacher, she would have dealt with Keling directly. Along the way, Yunsheng met a few teachers of the magic elite camp. Usually, when these people saw Yunsheng, they would give her the cold shoulder. Yunsheng did not wait for them. Just as she was about to turn and leave, those senior brothers and sisters hurriedly stood up straight and respectfully called out to Yunsheng, "Senior Sister Yun." Based on their attitude, Yunsheng was certain that they might not be so respectful when they met their tutor on a normal day. Yunsheng felt goosebumps all over her body when she was called out like this. She thought to herself, what's going on? Are these people possessed? Hey Yunsheng, you have already become a senior sister. Goofing and Abandon walked out from the side. What was rare was that Sister Lan also walked with them. Lan's injuries had mostly recovered after being treated by the dazzling light teachers. She still looked as cold as ever, but when she saw Yunsheng, her gaze softened slightly. She nodded at Yunsheng. Get used to it. In the magic elite camp of the mainland, the strong are respected. What she meant was that she acknowledged Yunsheng's strength. In this time's blood purge, the team led by Lan had earned a chance to enter the magic forest because of their meritorious service. But the one who benefited the most was still Yunsheng. Feng Tian disappeared for no reason. In this rescue operation, the one who performed the best was still Yunsheng. After returning from the Dutian blood realm, Yunsheng's magic badge showed that she had killed 1,600 magical beasts. A part of this was thanks to her little magical beasts. Anyway, the magical beasts killed by the little magical beasts were all credited to Yunsheng. Yunsheng, who was originally unknown, became the brightest star in the magic elite camp of the mainland. She had even broken through to become a sky mage in one fell swoop during the blood purge. Not only that, the entire elite camp, including the warrior elite camp, was secretly discussing the relationship between Yunsheng and Yi Baiming. Yi Baiming had repelled the ghost prison's great elder with one punch in the Dutian blood seal. There were many speculations about his strength in the outside world, but there was one thing that no one dared to touch Yunsheng. Offending Yunsheng was equivalent to offending Yi Baiming. Yi Baiming even dared to beat up the ghost prison's great elder. Who in the camp dared to provoke him? Even some instructors were wary of Yunsheng. The direct result of all these was that Yunsheng's reputation in the camp was already on par with Lu Tongtian, Lan, and the others. Her ranking on the magic power ranking soared like a rocket, and she had already charged into the top 100. Lu Tongtian had painstakingly worked for nearly 10 years to achieve all this. However, Yunsheng had only used a short period of time. In merely a few days she had managed to obtain it. Not only that, Lu Tongtian had been severely criticized by the Great Elder because of his poor leadership, especially when he let Feng Tian leave in a fit of anger. This was not the only thing that gave Lu Tongtian a headache. "Lianer, don't be angry." Lu Tongtian was softly comforting Chen Lianer. If these words came from the mouth of a handsome man, it would be quite effective. It was a pity that the person speaking was a man like Lu Tongtian. Chen Lian had not been nice to Lu Tongtian ever since she returned from the blood purge. When Lan Yunshang, Qi Gufeng, and the others came to the door, they happened to see this scene. When he saw these people, Lu Tongtian's expression was somewhat awkward. Needless to say, he knew what these people were here for. Earlier, the two teams had agreed to have a competition. The results of the competition had already been revealed when Yunshang successfully controlled the five-colored airship and rescued the students. Lu Tongtian originally thought that victory was in his hands. Who knew that Green Tooth would appear halfway and injure him? Chen Lian was then captured by Green's magic trap. It was also because of Chen Lian and the others' capture that the Ghost Prison Great Elder had no choice but to compromise with the descendants of the Octoterra and hand over the five-colored airship and let them go. What are you doing here? Are you here to see a joke? Lu Tongtian was annoyed. Senior apprentice brother Lu, you're so forgetful. Of course, we're here to get our 100 million gold coins back. Yunshang's eyes curved into crescents as she spoke in a righteous tone. In order to force Lu Tongtian to pay his debt, she had specially invited Sister Lan to help. Yunshang, don't go too far. 100 million gold coins, who can take it out at once? When Chen Lian saw Yunshang, it was really like meeting an enemy. Her eyes were exceptionally red. That day, when she came out of the Duqian blood realm, she had been scolded by the second elder. When she was reduced to a prisoner, Yunshang was hugging and kissing Yi Baiming. Just thinking of this made Chen Lian's stomach full of anger. 100 million gold coins. It is not only senior brother Lu who is responsible for it. If you are willing, you can all bear some of it. 10 people, no, 3 people died in the process. 100 million gold coins isn't a lot when it's split between 7 people, said Gufeng, adding insult to injury. As the first on the devil list, if the team led by Lu Tongtian lost the competition and everyone had to pay back the bet, if this matter spread out, Lu Tongtian would not be able to stay in the elite mage camp anymore. Lu Tongtian's expression became even uglier. No matter what, he could not afford to lose face. I only have 8 million gold coins on me. 100 million gold coins is really too much. Give me some more time. Once I have enough money, I will pay back the full amount. Lu Tongtian's heart was filled with regret. If he had known earlier, he would not have listened to Chen Lian's instigation and agreed to the 100 million gold coins. Just by relying on the elite mage camp, participating in the blood purges and killing blood cloud beasts, when would he be able to raise that much money? Senior brother Lu, you have already been in the camp for 10 years and only have 8 million gold coins. Based on your speed, how long do you think it will take to earn 100 million gold coins? Don't wait until I have left the elite mage camp and you still haven't paid it back. Yunshang had a difficult expression. Yunshang, don't go too far. If senior brother Lu does not want to pay it back, none of you can do anything to him. Chen Lian was furious. Even if Lan was present, if they really fought, Lan might not be able to win against Lu Tongtian. Chen Lian was relying on Lu Tongtian's superior strength to be able to go back on her words without any scruples. I can't do anything to him, but I'm sure senior brother Lu wouldn't want the matter of him owing money to be treated as a joke and talked about in tea houses and restaurants 24 hours a day, right? Yunshang's voice had just faded away. For people like Lu Tongtian, he was not afraid of fighting to the death. But he could not afford to lose face. That's enough. I still have some magic tools, magic scrolls, and some soul stones on me. With all of them added together, the price shouldn't be less than 100 million gold coins. As he spoke, he threw his storage ring to Yunshang with hatred. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.